She stared at her wrist in the bathroom mirror, watching the purple fingerprints bloom darker under the fluorescent lights. 5 marks. His hand. Again. She'd gotten good at hiding them. Long sleeves in summer, bracelets stacked thick, laughing when people asked. But this morning, reaching for the coffee pot in her boss's office, her sleeve rode up. Just for a second. And Vincent Romano, the man whose name made grown men go quiet, went completely still. His eyes locked on those bruises. And something in his face changed. That night, Dylan didn't come home. He never would again. Before we dive into this emotional journey, if you're enjoying these stories of unexpected love and redemption, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that might just change how you see the world. Now, let's begin. Vincent Romano's office sat on the 8th floor of a renovated shipyard building in Boston's Seaport District, overlooking the harbor where his grandfather had unloaded cargo 60 years ago. Different cargo now. Different methods. Same family name. He arrived before sunrise every Tuesday, the way he had for 20 years. The building's legitimate tenants, tech startups, consulting firms, a yoga studio on the 3rd floor, wouldn't show up for hours. He liked the silence. Liked the city still half asleep, streetlights reflecting off the water, everything holding its breath before the chaos started. His desk sat clean. No clutter. No photographs. A laptop, a leather portfolio, a single pen. The walls held generic art, Boston Harbor at sunset, the kind of paintings hotels bought in bulk. Nothing personal. Nothing that told you who worked here. He wore a navy suit today, tailored in the North End by a man who dressed his father. The fabric moved with him as he poured his first coffee, black, no sugar. His phone sat face down on the desk. It would ring soon. It always did. Vincent was 43. He'd killed his first man at 19. His father had stood beside him in a warehouse in Revere, handed him the gun, walked him through it like teaching a kid to ride a bike. You hesitate, you die, his father had said. You hesitate, everyone you love dies. Vincent hadn't hesitated. He didn't hesitate about much anymore. The Romano family controlled the docks, the unions, 3 construction companies, and enough elected officials to make life comfortable. His legitimate business, Romano Property Development, flipped buildings, managed rentals, kept the money clean. The illegitimate business paid for everything else. He'd never married. Came close once in his 20s, but she'd seen him come home with blood on his shoes and left before sunrise. Smart woman. He didn't blame her. This life didn't leave room for softness. You either built walls or people climbed inside and tore you apart from the inside out. So Vincent built walls. He drank his coffee and watched the sun crawl over the water and told himself he was fine with being alone. The office started filling around 8. His construction manager, Tony, arrived first, dropping off payroll reports. Then his accountant, a nervous man named Gerald who handled the books and asked no questions. By 9, the place hummed with ringing phones and keyboard clicks and the smell of burnt coffee from the break room. Vincent kept his door half closed. People knocked before entering. Even Tony, who'd known him since they were kids stealing cars in Southie, knocked. Respect. Fear. Same thing, most days. His secretary arrived at exactly 8:45, the way she had every morning for 2 years. Claire Donovan. She was 29, brown hair usually pulled back, clothes that didn't call attention. Gray today. Gray slacks, gray sweater, black flats. She carried her purse and a reusable coffee cup from the place down the street that spelled her name wrong every time. She knocked twice, soft, before entering. Morning, she said. Voice steady, professional. She set a folder on his desk. Contracts for the Southie property. 3 offers came in overnight. I highlighted the strongest 2. Thanks. She turned to leave. Claire. She stopped. Didn't turn around. Yes. You eat breakfast? A pause. I'm fine. That's not what I asked. She glanced back. Her face was pale, makeup heavier than usual. I'll grab something later. He nodded. She left. Vincent opened the folder. Stared at the contracts without reading them. Something was wrong. He couldn't name it, but he'd survived this long by trusting his gut, and his gut said Claire Donovan was carrying weight she shouldn't have to carry. He'd noticed things over the past few months. The way she flinched when someone raised their voice. The way she volunteered to stay late, like going home was something to avoid. Last week, she'd worn sunglasses inside until noon, said she had a migraine. Vincent knew what migraines looked like. He'd given enough of them. That wasn't a migraine. But he hadn't pushed. Wasn't his business. She did her job, kept his calendar organized, never gossiped, never asked about the men in dark coats who visited his office after hours. She was smart. Competent. Invisible in the best way. He told himself that was enough. Claire sat at her desk outside Vincent's office and tried to stop her hands from shaking. The bruise on her wrist throbbed. She'd covered it with 2 bracelets this morning, silver bangles that clicked when she moved, but the pressure made it hurt worse. She could still feel Dylan's fingers digging in, his voice hot against her ear. You think you're so smart, working for that mobster? You think he gives a damn about you? She tried to pull away. That made it worse. It always made it worse. He'd squeezed until she gasped, until her knees buckled, until she promised she'd be home on time tonight, promised she wouldn't talk to any men at work, promised she'd cook his favorite dinner. Then he'd let go. Kissed her forehead. Said he loved her. She wanted to believe him. Some days she did. Most days she just wanted to survive until morning. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dylan. What time you getting home? She typed back. 6. Promise. Don't be late. She deleted the thread. Opened her calendar. Vincent had meetings all morning, contractors, lawyers, a lunch with a city councilman at Neptune Oyster. She'd ordered the car, confirmed the reservation, prepared his talking points. Everything perfect. Everything controlled. If she controlled enough, maybe she could hold her life together. Her desk phone rang. She answered on the second ring. Romano Property Development, this is Claire. The morning blurred. Phone calls, emails, a courier delivery she had to sign for. She made copies, filed permits, ordered lunch for a meeting she wouldn't attend. Her life had become a series of tasks. Complete the task, move to the next one. Don't think. Don't feel. Don't let anyone see. Around 11, Vincent's door opened. He leaned out, loosening his tie. Need you to grab something from the supply room. We're out of toner. Of course. She stood, smoothing her sweater. Walked toward the supply room at the end of the hall. It was a small space, shelves stacked with paper and pens and the kind of office supplies no one thought about until they ran out. She reached for the toner cartridge on the top shelf. Her sleeve slid down. The bruise stared back at her. 5 perfect fingerprints. Purple bleeding into yellow at the edges. She yanked her sleeve down. Too late. Vincent stood in the doorway. He didn't say anything. Just looked at her wrist. Then at her face. His expression didn't change, he was good at that, keeping everything locked behind his eyes, but something shifted. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Claire. Her throat closed. It's nothing. Show me. Mr. Romano, Show me. Her hands shook as she pushed the sleeve up. The bruise looked worse in the fluorescent light. Angrier. Like it was screaming everything she couldn't say. Vincent stepped closer. He didn't touch her. Didn't need to. The air between them went tight, like a wire about to snap. Who? His voice was quiet. Deadly quiet. I fell. Try again. She couldn't look at him. It's personal. That's not a fall. He pointed at the marks. That's someone's hand. Someone grabbed you hard enough to break blood vessels. So I'll ask one more time. Who? Tears burned behind her eyes. She blinked them back. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. She finally looked up. His face was stone, but his eyes burned. She'd worked for Vincent Romano for 2 years, watched him handle million-dollar deals and dangerous men without blinking, but she'd never seen him look like this. Like he cared. Like someone hurting her was personal. My boyfriend, she whispered. But it's fine. We just argued. He didn't mean it. Vincent's jaw tightened. What's his name? Please don't. Claire. His name. Dylan. Dylan Porter. She wiped her eyes. But you can't do anything. He'll get worse if he thinks I told someone. Please, Mr. Romano. Just forget you saw this. He stared at her for a long moment. Then nodded once. Go home early today. Take the rest of the week if you need. I don't need. It's not a request. She grabbed the toner cartridge and walked past him, heart hammering. She shouldn't have said Dylan's name. Shouldn't have said anything. Vincent Romano wasn't the kind of man who forgot things. He was the kind of man who fixed them. And fixing, in his world, usually meant someone didn't walk away. Vincent stood in the supply room after Claire left. His hands were fists. He forced them open. Dylan Porter. He'd remember that name. He walked back to his office, closed the door, pulled out his phone. Dialed a number he'd called 1,000 times. Yeah. Luca's voice, rough from too many cigarettes. Need you to find someone. Dylan Porter. Lives in Boston, probably Dorchester or Mattapan. Dating a woman named Claire Donovan. I want his address, his job, his routine. Everything. How fast? By tonight. Done. Vincent hung up. He sat at his desk and stared at the harbor. The water looked gray today, choppy, cold. He thought about his mother. The way she used to wear long sleeves in summer. The way she smiled through split lips. His father had beaten her for 17 years. Vincent had been 12 when he found her on the kitchen floor, not breathing, her neck bent wrong. His father had gone too far. Hadn't meant to kill her. Just meant to teach her a lesson. That's what he'd told the cops. They'd believed him. Vincent hadn't. But he'd been 12, and 12-year-olds don't get justice. They get foster homes and therapy and people telling them everything happens for a reason. He'd stopped believing in reasons. Started believing in control. If you were strong enough, if you were ruthless enough, you could stop bad things from happening. You could protect the people who mattered. And Claire Donovan mattered. He couldn't explain why. She was his secretary. Professional. Polite. They barely spoke outside of work. But for 2 years, she'd been the first voice he heard every morning and the last person he saw before leaving every night. She made his coffee the way he liked it without asking. She remembered his mother's birthday and put flowers on his desk every April without explanation. She saw him. Not Vincent Romano, the name that made people nervous. Just him. And someone was hurting her. That couldn't stand. His phone buzzed 3 hours later. A text from Luca with an address in Dorchester. A second text with a photo, Dylan Porter leaving a gym on Avenue, tall blonde, the kind of guy who smiled too much. Vincent memorized the address. Then he made a decision that would change everything. Vincent left the office at 5:30. He told Tony he had a meeting, told Gerald to lock up, told no one where he was actually going. He drove his own car tonight. A black Audi, clean plates, nothing flashy. The kind of car that disappeared in traffic. He'd learned a long time ago that expensive vehicles drew eyes, and tonight he needed to be invisible. The address Luca sent led him to a triple-decker in Dorchester, the kind of neighborhood where people minded their business and kept their curtains closed. The building needed paint. The front steps sagged. A chain-link fence separated the tiny front yard from the sidewalk. Vincent parked 3 houses down, killed the engine, and waited. Claire's car pulled up 20 minutes later. A beat-up Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door. She parked on the street, sat in the driver's seat for a full minute before getting out. Stalling. Vincent's chest tightened. She climbed the steps to the second-floor entrance, keys in hand. Before she could unlock the door, it flew open. Dylan Porter filled the doorway. Taller than Vincent expected. Gym-built shoulders, the kind of muscles that came from vanity, not work. He wore a white tank top and jeans, barefoot, phone in one hand. "You're late," Dylan said. Not yelling. Worse than yelling. Cold. "I'm sorry." Claire's voice was small. Traffic on 9-3 was. "I don't care about traffic. I texted you at 4. You said 6. It's almost 6:30. I know, I'm sorry, I just had to." "Had to what? Flirt with your boss? Think I don't know what you do in that office?" "Dylan, please. Can we go inside?" He grabbed her arm. The same arm. The bruised one. She winced, tried to pull back. He squeezed harder. Vincent's hand went to the door handle. Every muscle in his body coiled. "Not yet. Not yet. You think I'm stupid?" Dylan shoved her against the doorframe. Her head cracked against the wood. "You think I don't see the way you look at him? That mobster piece of garbage." "I don't look at anyone. I swear. Please, you're hurting me." "I'm hurting you?" He laughed. Bitter. Mean. "You hurt me every day with your lies." "I'm not lying." He raised his hand. Vincent was out of the car before he realized he'd moved. But Dylan didn't hit her. Just held his hand there, inches from her face, letting her flinch. Letting her know he could. That he would, if he wanted to. "Get inside," Dylan said. "Make dinner. And stop crying. I hate when you cry." He shoved her through the door. She stumbled, caught herself on the wall. Dylan followed her in, slammed the door. Vincent stood on the sidewalk, hands shaking. Not from fear. From control. From forcing himself not to kick that door down and beat Dylan Porter until he stopped moving. Not yet. He needed to think. Needed to be smart about this. He got back in his car. Sat there as the sun dropped behind the buildings, as the streetlights flickered on, as the neighborhood settled into its evening rhythm. TVs glowed in windows. Someone walked a dog. A kid rode a bike past, laughing. Normal life. The kind of life Vincent had never had. The kind of life Claire deserved. His phone rang. "Luca." "Yeah. Got more on Porter. Works part-time at a gym in Southie, teaches spin classes. Gets paid under the table doing personal training. No real income. Lives off his girlfriend's salary." "Course he does." "Want me to handle it?" Vincent looked at the building. At the light in the second-floor window. At Claire's shadow moving behind the curtain. "No," Vincent said. "This one's mine." He hung up. Made another call. To Marco, who handled the kind of work that didn't leave traces. Who knew how to make people disappear without questions, without bodies, without anyone looking too hard. "Need a pickup tonight," Vincent said. "Dorchester. I'll text you the address. Wait for my call." "How permanent?" Vincent watched Dylan's shadow pass the window. Watched him gesturing, probably yelling, probably making Claire feel small and worthless and alone. Permanent, Vincent said. He ended the call. Started the engine. He'd come back tonight, after Claire was asleep, after Dylan thought he was safe. Men like Dylan Porter never thought consequences would find them. They were always surprised when they did. Vincent didn't go home. He drove to a restaurant in the North End, sat at the bar, ordered a whiskey he didn't drink. His mind ran through the mechanics. The timing. The cleanup. He'd done this before. More times than he could count. But those had been business. Rival crew members, informants, men who'd crossed lines they knew better than to cross. This was different. This was personal. He thought about his mother again. The way she used to hum while cooking dinner, even after his father had screamed at her for burning the roast. The way she'd tuck Vincent into bed and tell him stories about Ireland, about green hills and ancient castles, about a life that existed somewhere outside their cramped apartment in Southie. She'd never made it to Ireland. She'd never made it out of that kitchen. Vincent had promised himself, standing over her grave in a cemetery in Quincy, that he'd never let it happen again. That he'd never stand by while someone with power used it to hurt someone weaker. He'd broken that promise every day for 30 years. Looked the other way. Told himself it wasn't his problem. Told himself getting involved was dangerous, stupid, a liability. But tonight, looking at those bruises on Claire's wrist, something had snapped inside him. Maybe it had been broken all along. Maybe he'd just been ignoring it. His phone buzzed. A text from Claire. I'm sorry about today. I'll be in tomorrow. Thank you for not making it a big deal. He stared at the message. She was thanking him. For what? For doing nothing? For letting her go home to a man who hurt her? He typed back. Take tomorrow off. Doctor's orders. Her response came fast. I'm fine. Really? Claire. Take the day. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Okay. He pocketed his phone. Checked his watch. 11:15. Late enough. He paid his tab, left the bar, drove back to Dorchester. The neighborhood was quieter now. Most windows dark. A few porch lights still on. Claire's building looked the same. Second floor light still glowing. Vincent parked in the same spot. Texted Marco. 20 minutes. Ready. He waited. Watched. At 11:40, the light in Claire's apartment went out. Vincent gave it another 10 minutes. Then he got out of the car. He climbed the steps, silent, picked the lock on the main door. Muscle memory. He'd broken into his first apartment at 14, stealing rent money his father had gambled away. Some skills you never forgot. The hallway smelled like old cooking and mildew. He found apartment 2B, second door on the left. Pressed his ear to the wood. Silence. He picked this lock too. The door swung open, smooth, no squeak. The apartment was small. Kitchen visible from the entrance, living room beyond that, bedroom door half open. Everything cheap. Mismatched furniture. Dishes piled in the sink. A crack running up the wall behind the TV. This was where Claire lived. This tiny, sad box. Working for him, making decent money, and coming home to this. Vincent moved through the living room. His shoes made no sound on the worn carpet. He found Dylan asleep on the couch, passed out in front of a muted TV playing some late-night show. Empty beer bottles on the coffee table. The room reeked of sweat and stale alcohol. Vincent stood over him. Looked down at the man who'd put his hands on Claire. Who'd made her flinch. Who'd stolen the light from her eyes. It would be easy. Quick. Dylan wouldn't even wake up. But Vincent wanted him awake. He nudged Dylan's shoulder. Hard. Dylan jerked, eyes flying open, disoriented. What the? He saw Vincent. Recognition flickered. Then confusion. Who the hell are you? Vincent smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. Claire's boss. Dylan scrambled upright, reaching for his phone. Vincent grabbed his wrist. The same wrist Dylan had grabbed Claire's. He squeezed. Felt the bones grind. Dylan yelped. Let go. That's what she said. Vincent squeezed harder. You didn't listen. I don't know what she told you, but... She told me she fell. She lied for you. Protected you. Even after you put your hands on her. Dylan's face went pale. Look man, that's between me and my girlfriend. You need to. Vincent twisted. Dylan screamed. The sound cut off as Vincent's other hand clamped over his mouth. Quiet, Vincent said. Don't want to wake Claire. She's had a rough day. Thanks to you. Dylan thrashed. Vincent held him still. Stronger than he looked. Stronger than Dylan, who'd built muscles in a gym but never used them for anything real. Here's what's going to happen, Vincent said, voice calm, conversational. You're going to come with me. We're going to take a drive. And tomorrow morning, Claire's going to wake up, and you're going to be gone. No note. No explanation. Just gone. Dylan's eyes went wide. He tried to shake his head. You made a mistake, Vincent continued. You touched something that wasn't yours. And in my world, mistakes have consequences. He pulled Dylan off the couch. Dylan struggled, tried to yell through Vincent's hand. Vincent hit him once, quick, in the solar plexus. All the air rushed out. Dylan folded. Vincent dragged him toward the door. Checked the bedroom as they passed. Claire was there, asleep, curled on her side, still wearing her work clothes. She hadn't even changed. Just collapsed. Something in Vincent's chest cracked. He pulled Dylan into the hallway, down the stairs, out to the street. Marco's van was waiting, back doors open. Luca sat in the driver's seat, face blank. Vincent shoved Dylan inside. Dylan was crying now, gasping, begging. Please. Please, I'm sorry. I won't touch her again. I swear. Please. Vincent leaned in close. You're right. You won't. He slammed the doors. Walked to the driver's window. Luca rolled it down. Same as always, Vincent said. What about his stuff? His car? Leave it for now. I'll handle it tomorrow. Make it look like he ran. Packed a bag, took off. Guys like him do it all the time. Luca nodded. The van pulled away. Taillights disappeared around the corner. Vincent stood on the empty street. The night was cold. Wind came off the harbor, carrying salt and the smell of the ocean. Somewhere a dog barked. A car alarm chirped off. Normal sounds. Normal night. Except he'd just sentenced a man to death. He looked up at Claire's window. Still dark. Still quiet. She'd wake up tomorrow and Dylan would be gone. She'd have questions. She'd be scared. Maybe relieved. Maybe horrified. But she'd be safe. Vincent walked back to his car. Got in. Sat there for a moment, hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. He'd crossed a line tonight. The kind of line you didn't come back from. He started the engine and drove home through empty streets, and he didn't feel guilty. He felt like he'd finally done something right. The morning after. Vincent didn't sleep. He sat in his apartment in the Back Bay, whiskey in hand, watching the city wake up through his window. The sky went from black to gray to pale blue. Streetlights clicked off. Cars started appearing on Commonwealth Avenue. His phone stayed silent. That was good. That meant Marco had finished the job. No complications. No witnesses. Dylan Porter was gone. Vincent showered, dressed, drove to the office. He arrived at his usual time, before sunrise, before anyone else. Made his coffee. Sat at his desk. Waited. Claire's shift started at 8:45. She didn't show. 9 o'clock. Nothing. 9:30. Vincent's phone rang. Her number. He answered. Claire. I'm sorry. Her voice was rough, like she'd been crying. I can't come in today. I know you said to take the day, but I thought I could and now, she broke off. I'm sorry. I'll be in tomorrow. What happened? Silence. Then, Dylan's gone. Vincent kept his voice neutral. Gone. He's not here. His car's still outside, but he's gone. Some of his clothes are missing. His wallet. His phone's off. I don't, her voice cracked. I don't know what to do. Did you call the police? Not yet. I don't know if I should. Maybe he just left. Maybe he's coming back. Claire. Vincent paused, choosing his words carefully. If he left, that's his choice. You can't control what other people do. I know. She breathed out. I'm scared. Of what? That he'll come back. Another pause. Longer this time. No, she whispered. That he won't. Vincent closed his eyes. She still loved him. Or thought she did. Or couldn't separate love from fear anymore. Take the day, he said. Take the week if you need. Your job's here when you're ready. Thank you. She hung up. Vincent sat there, phone in hand, staring at the harbor. Sunlight sparkled on the water. Boats moved in and out. The city hummed with life, everyone going about their day, oblivious to the violence that had happened in the dark. He'd saved her. He knew that. Dylan Porter would have killed her eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, but eventually. Men like that always went too far. But Claire didn't know she'd been saved. She just knew the man she loved was gone. And she'd spend weeks, maybe months, wondering why. Blaming herself. Thinking she'd driven him away. Vincent couldn't tell her the truth. Not now. Maybe not ever. He'd have to live with that. He finished his coffee and went back to work. Contracts to review. Calls to make. Money to move. The legitimate business that kept everything else running. By noon, the office was full. Tony stopped by to discuss a problem at a construction site in Southie. Gerald brought paperwork to sign. Luca called to confirm the job was done, no loose ends. Everything normal. Everything clean. Vincent's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You did this. His blood went cold. He called the number. It went straight to voicemail. No name. He texted back. Who is this? No response. He called Luca. Run a number for me. He read it off. Give me 10 minutes. Vincent stood, paced his office. Someone knew. Someone had seen something. Or guessed. This was the problem with acting on emotion instead of strategy. You made mistakes. Luca called back. Burner phone. Bought yesterday at a convenience store in Roxbury. Cash. No cameras. Damn it. Want me to dig deeper? Yeah. Find out who bought it. Check stores, parking lots, anything. On it. Vincent hung up. Stared at the text. 3 words. You did this. Someone knew. Question was, who? And what did they want? He texted the number again. If you have something to say, say it. This time, a response came immediately. I know what you are. I know what you did. And I'm going to make sure Claire knows too. Vincent's jaw clenched. He typed fast. You don't know anything. I know Dylan Porter is dead. I know you killed him. And I know Claire deserves better than a murderer playing hero. His hands tightened on the phone. He forced himself to think. To stay calm. Whoever this was, they were trying to rattle him. Trying to make him slip up. He wouldn't. He texted back. Come see me. Let's talk in person. I'm not stupid. But don't worry. I'll be in touch. The conversation ended. Vincent threw his phone on the desk. Ran his hands through his hair. This was supposed to be simple. Remove the threat. Protect Claire. Move on. Nothing was ever simple. He called Luca again. Put someone on Claire. Discreet. I want to know if anyone approaches her. Anyone at all. You think someone's going after her? I think someone wants leverage. And she's it. Done. Vincent hung up. Walked to his window. Looked out at the city he'd spent his whole life controlling. The docks his family owned. The buildings his money had built. The streets where his name carried weight. He'd killed Dylan Porter to save Claire. But now he might have put her in more danger than before. And he had no idea who was coming for them next. What a twist. Someone knows what Vincent did. Who could it be? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you're hooked on this story, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss Act 3 where the tension explodes. Claire didn't come to work the next day. Or the day after that. Vincent told himself it was fine. She needed time. Space. Processing. Whatever people did when their lives fell apart. He kept busy. Meetings with contractors. A sit-down with a union rep who'd gotten too greedy. Paperwork. Phone calls. The endless machinery of keeping everything running. But his mind kept drifting to that text. You did this. Luca's guy had been watching Claire's apartment. No unusual visitors. No strange cars. She'd left once to buy groceries. Came back an hour later. That was it. The burner phone went dark. No more texts. No more threats. That bothered Vincent more than the threats had. People who talked were predictable. People who went silent were planning. On the 3rd day, Claire called. Her voice sounded steadier. I'm coming back tomorrow, she said. I can't just sit here anymore. You sure? I need normal. I need to work. I need to stop thinking. Vincent understood that. Work was the only thing that kept him sane most days. See you tomorrow. She hung up. He sat back in his chair, relieved. She was coming back. Things could go back to normal. Except they couldn't. Because normal meant pretending he hadn't killed a man for her. Normal meant looking her in the eye and lying every single day. He'd done worse. He could do this. Claire arrived at 8:45 sharp. She wore black pants and a cream blouse, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. She looked tired. Thinner. Like she hadn't been eating. She knocked on his door. Twice. Soft. Come in. She entered, closed the door behind her. Stood there, arms crossed, not sitting. We need to talk, she said. Vincent's stomach dropped. Okay. Where is he? Who? Don't. Her voice went hard. Don't lie to me. Where's Dylan? Vincent kept his face blank. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. She stepped closer. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were steady. You saw the bruises. I told you his name. That night, he disappeared. That's not a coincidence. People leave all the time. Not Dylan. He'd never leave his car. He'd never leave his gym stuff. His whole life was that gym. She paused. And he'd never leave without hurting me one more time. Without making sure I knew it was my fault. Vincent said nothing. So I'll ask again. Her voice cracked. What did you do? He could lie. He was good at lying. But looking at her, seeing the fear and anger and desperate need for truth in her eyes, he couldn't. I protected you, he said quietly. The words hung in the air between them. Claire's face went pale. Oh God. He was going to kill you eventually. You know that. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I've seen it before. Men like him don't stop. They escalate. Next time it's not a bruise. Next time it's a broken rib. Then a concussion. Then you don't wake up. She backed away from him. You killed him. You actually killed him. I did what was necessary. Necessary? Her voice rose. Who are you to decide what's necessary? Who gave you the right to play God with someone's life? He put his hands on you. So that means he deserves to die? That's insane. Vincent stood. Would you rather I left him alone? Let him keep hurting you? Because I can't do that, Claire. I won't. It wasn't your choice to make. Then whose choice was it? Yours? You were never going to leave him. You were going to stay until he killed you. She flinched like he'd slapped her. You don't know anything about my life. I know enough. No. She shook her head. You know violence. You know how to solve problems by making people disappear. But you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know why I stayed. Then tell me. Why? So you can judge me? Feel sorry for me? Use it as an excuse for what you did. I don't need an excuse. I'd do it again. The words came out before he could stop them. Claire stared at him. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I can't work for you anymore. His chest tightened. Claire. I can't look at you every day knowing what you did. Knowing you killed someone because of me. I didn't do it because of you. I did it for you. There's a difference. Not to me. She turned toward the door. Wait. He moved around the desk. You can't tell anyone. You understand that? If you go to the police, if you tell anyone what you think happened. What? She spun back. You'll kill me too? Is that where this is going? No. The word came out hard. Definitive. Never. But other people will have questions. Questions I can't answer. And that puts you in danger. I'm already in danger. Being near you is dangerous. You're safer with me than anywhere else. She laughed. It was a broken sound. That's what Dylan used to say. That I was safe with him. That he'd protect me from the world. She wiped her eyes. Turns out the world wasn't the problem. Vincent felt something crack inside his chest. I'm not him. Aren't you? You both think you know what's best for me. You both took away my choices. You both, her voice broke. I need to go. You can't just leave. I meant what I said. Someone knows what happened. Someone's been watching. She froze. What? He told her about the texts. The burner phone. Luca's guy watching her apartment. By the end, she looked terrified. Who would know? I don't know yet. But until I do, you're not safe out there alone. I'm not safe here either. Yes, you are. I won't let anything happen to you. You already did. She grabbed the door handle. I'll pack my things. I'll be gone by lunch. Claire, please. She looked back at him. Her eyes were red, exhausted, defeated. You want to protect me, she said. Then let me go. She walked out. Vincent stood there, alone in his office, the door still open, the sound of her footsteps fading down the hall. He'd saved her life. And she hated him for it. Vincent gave her space. What else could he do? He couldn't force her to stay. Couldn't make her understand. She packed her desk in silence. Personal items, photos, a coffee mug. It all fit in one cardboard box. Tony walked by, saw her packing, looked at Vincent questioningly. Vincent shook his head. Not now. By noon, Claire was gone. The office felt wrong without her. Too quiet. Vincent's coffee tasted bitter. His schedule was chaos without her organizing it. Gerald asked 3 times where she was. Vincent said she quit. Gerald didn't push. That night, Vincent sat in his apartment, staring at his phone. He'd typed a dozen messages to Claire. Deleted them all. What could he say? Sorry I killed your boyfriend? Sorry I cared enough to do something about it? He poured a drink. Then another. The whiskey didn't help. His phone rang. Luca. We got a problem. Vincent's stomach sank. What kind? Claire went to the police. Everything stopped. What? About an hour ago. Walked into District C11, asked to file a missing persons report on Dylan Porter. Gave them his name, his address, said he'd been gone for 3 days. Damn it. Gets worse. They're opening an investigation. They'll search his apartment, talk to neighbors, pull surveillance footage. It's going to get messy. Vincent stood, paced. She didn't mention me? Not yet. But if they start digging, they'll find connections. Your office. Her paycheck. Someone's going to ask why Dylan disappeared right after she came to work with Bruises. Can we control the investigation? We've got a couple guys in C11, but not enough. Not for something like this. Vincent ran his hand through his hair. Stay on it. Let me know what they find. He hung up. Stared at the window. The city lights blurred. Claire had gone to the cops. She was smart enough to know that put both of them in danger, but she'd done it anyway. Because she wanted answers. Or justice. Or maybe she just wanted someone else to make sense of the mess her life had become. His phone buzzed. The burner number. The one that had gone silent. She's going to find out everything. And when she does, she'll never forgive you. Vincent typed back, anger overriding caution. Who the hell are you? Someone who knows you're not the hero you think you are. What do you want? I want Claire to see the truth. That you're a monster. That you didn't save her. You just replaced one cage with another. Vincent's hands were shaking. He forced himself to breathe. If you hurt her. I'm not going to hurt her. You already did that. The conversation ended. Vincent threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall, clattered to the floor. He'd spent his whole life controlling situations. Reading people. Staying 3 steps ahead. Now everything was falling apart, and he couldn't stop it. Claire sat in her apartment, staring at the police report copy they'd given her. Missing person. Dylan Porter. Last seen 4 days ago. The detective had been kind. Patient. Asked questions about Dylan's habits, his friends, whether he'd been depressed or in trouble. She'd answered everything. Except the part about Vincent. She didn't know why. She should have told them. Should have said her boss saw the bruises, said his name, and that night Dylan disappeared. But the words wouldn't come. Because saying them out loud made it real. Made Vincent a killer. Made her complicit in whatever had happened. She'd loved Dylan once. Or thought she had. The early days had been good. Sweet. He brought her flowers, made her laugh, told her she was beautiful. Then the first slap. The first apology. The first promise that it would never happen again. It always happened again. By the end, she'd stopped recognizing herself. Stopped remembering who she'd been before him. She'd become small. Quiet. Agreeable. Safe. Except she'd never been safe. And now he was gone. And she didn't know if she was relieved or heartbroken or just numb. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Claire Donovan? Yes. This is Detective Walsh with Boston PD. We spoke earlier about Dylan Porter. Her stomach dropped. Did you find him? Not yet. But we did find something interesting. Can you come down to the station? I'd like to ask you a few more questions. What kind of questions? Just clarifying some details. Nothing to worry about. Everything in his tone said there was plenty to worry about. I'll be there in an hour, she said. She hung up. Sat there, heart pounding. They'd found something. Something that connected Dylan to Vincent. Something that would unravel everything. She should let it happen. Should tell them the truth. Let justice run its course. But justice in Vincent's world didn't look like courtrooms and trials. It looked like more bodies. More disappearances. More violence. And she'd already seen enough violence to last a lifetime. She grabbed her keys, headed for the door. Stopped. Turned back. Picked up her phone. Dialed a number she deleted but still remembered. Vincent answered on the first ring. Claire. The police want to talk to me again, she said. They found something. Silence. Then, what did you tell them? Nothing. Not yet. She paused. But I need to know the truth. All of it. What you did. How you did it. Where he is. I can't tell you that. Then I'm going to the police. I'm going to tell them everything. Claire, listen to me. No. Her voice was steady now. Strong. You listen. You took away my choices. You decided what was best for me without asking. So now I'm deciding. Either you tell me the truth, or I walk into that station and tell them what I know. Another long silence. Okay, Vincent said finally. Meet me at the office. 20 minutes. I'll tell you everything. If you're lying. I'm not. I promise. She hung up. Grabbed her coat. Walked out into the cold October night. She was terrified. Furious. Confused. But for the first time in years, she was making her own choice. And that had to count for something. Vincent stood in his office, waiting. The building was empty. Everyone gone home hours ago. Just him and the city lights and the truth he was about to tell. The door opened. Claire walked in. She looked different. Harder. Less breakable. Talk, she said. So he did. He told her about following her home. About seeing Dylan hurt her. About the rage that had consumed him. About Marco and the van and the drive that ended with Dylan Porter at the bottom of Boston Harbor, weighted down, never coming back. He told her about his mother. About watching his father destroy her piece by piece until there was nothing left. He told her about the promise he'd made at 12 years old. The promise he'd broken every day until he met her. By the end, Claire was crying. Silent tears streaming down her face. I didn't do it to control you, Vincent said. I did it because seeing you hurt killed me. Because I couldn't stand by and watch it happen again. Because, he stopped. Because I care about you. More than I should. She wiped her eyes. You killed him. Yes. And you'd do it again. Yes. She stared at him for a long time. He couldn't read her face. Couldn't tell if she was about to run or scream or call the cops right there. Finally, she spoke. The detective asked about you. Asked if Dylan knew where I worked. If he'd ever come to the office. Vincent's blood went cold. What did you say? I said no. I said Dylan didn't know anything about my job. That I kept work and home separate. She paused. I lied to the police for you. Why? I don't know. Her voice broke. Maybe because part of me is glad he's gone. Maybe because I'm tired of being a victim. Maybe because, she looked at him. Maybe because you're the first person in 5 years who thought I was worth protecting. Vincent stepped closer. You're worth everything. Don't. She held up her hand. Don't say things like that. I can't, I'm not ready to hear that. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Or love me. Or anything else. I'm just asking you not to go to the police. I won't, she said. But I need time. Away from you. Away from all of this. I need to figure out who I am when I'm not scared. When I'm not running. When I'm not. When you're not with me, Vincent finished. She nodded. I'm sorry. Don't be. He pulled an envelope from his desk drawer. Here. 3 months' salary. Take it. Go somewhere. Heal. She stared at the envelope. I can't take your money. It's not mine. It's yours. You earned it. She took it. Her hands were shaking. One more thing, Vincent said. Someone knows. Someone's been texting me. Threatening to tell you everything. I don't know who, but until I do, you're in danger. Then find out who it is. Stop them. Do what you do best. She turned to leave. Claire. She stopped. Didn't turn around. For what it's worth, Vincent said, I'd burn the whole city down to keep you safe. She looked back. Her eyes were tired. Sad. I know. That's what scares me. She left. Vincent stood alone in his empty office and felt the weight of everything he'd done crash down on him. He'd killed for her. Risked everything for her. And she was walking away anyway. Maybe that was justice. Maybe that was what he deserved. His phone buzzed. The burner number. She knows now. And she's still leaving you. How does it feel to lose the only person who ever mattered? Vincent stared at the message. Rage and grief and something darker twisted in his chest. Whoever this was, they wanted him to suffer. They were about to learn suffering worked both ways. Claire lasted 2 days on her own before everything went sideways. She'd rented a small room at a bed and breakfast in Salem, 30 minutes north of Boston. Quiet. Historic. The kind of place where tourists took photos of witch trials memorabilia and ate overpriced clam chowder. Nobody knew her there. Nobody asked questions. She spent her days walking along the waterfront, trying to sort through the mess in her head. Dylan was dead. Vincent had killed him. She'd lied to the police. She was complicit now, whether she wanted to be or not. And the worst part? Some small, terrible part of her was relieved. She hated herself for that. On the second night, she was walking back to the bed and breakfast after dinner when she noticed the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, parked across the street. Engine running. She told herself she was paranoid. Seeing threats where there weren't any. But the car followed her 3 blocks. She walked faster. The car kept pace. Her heart hammered. She pulled out her phone, hands shaking, and called the only person she could think of. Vincent answered immediately. Claire. Someone's following me. His voice went sharp. Where are you? Salem. Near the Hawthorne Hotel. There's a car. Get inside somewhere public. Now. I'm sending someone. Vincent. Do it. I'll explain later. The line went dead. Claire ducked into a coffee shop, crowded with college kids and tourists. She sat in the back corner, facing the door, phone clutched in her hand. The black sedan parked outside. Waited. 20 minutes later, a different car pulled up. Vincent's Audi. He got out, scanned the street, walked into the coffee shop. He found her in seconds. sat across from her without asking. You okay? She nodded, not trusting her voice. Vincent looked at the window. The black sedan was still there. That the car? Yes. He pulled out his phone, typed something. 2 minutes later, another car appeared. Luca got out, walked to the sedan, knocked on the driver's window. The sedan peeled out, tires screaming. Luca jogged back to his car, gave Vincent a thumbs up through the window. Vincent turned back to Claire. They ran the plates before they took off. Rental car. Fake ID. Professional. Professional what? Someone hired them to watch you. Maybe scare you. Maybe worse. Claire's stomach dropped. The person who's been texting you. Yeah. Vincent's jaw was tight. They're escalating. Which means you can't stay here alone. I'm not going back to Boston. I'm not asking you to. But you need protection. Real protection. From who? You still don't know who's doing this. No. But I know they want to hurt you to get to me. And I'm not letting that happen. She wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him she could take care of herself. But the truth was, she was terrified. The last 2 days of freedom had been a lie. She wasn't free. She was just alone. What do you want me to do? She asked quietly. Come with me. I have a place outside the city. Secure. Off the books. You'll be safe there. For how long? Until I find out who's behind this and deal with them. Deal with them. The same way he dealt with Dylan. More blood. More bodies. More violence in her name. But what choice did she have? Okay, she said. The safe house was a cottage on the coast in Rockport, an hour north of Boston. Small. Isolated. Perched on a rocky cliff overlooking the Atlantic. Vincent drove. Luca followed in a separate car, keeping distance, watching for tails. They arrived after midnight. The cottage was dark, surrounded by pine trees. The only sound was waves crashing against rocks below. Vincent unlocked the door. Flipped on lights. The interior was simple. 1 bedroom, small kitchen, living room with a fireplace. Clean but impersonal. Like a hotel room. You'll stay here, Vincent said. Luca will be outside in his car. I'll have someone bring supplies in the morning. Where will you be? Back in the city. Working on finding out who's targeting you. She felt a spike of panic. You're leaving me here alone? You're not alone. Luca's outside. And you'll be safer here than anywhere else. I don't want to be safe. I want answers. I'm working on it. Work faster. He looked at her. Really looked at her. You're angry. Of course I'm angry. Someone's following me because of you. Dylan's dead because of you. My entire life is upside down because of you. I know. That's it? That's all you have to say. Vincent stepped closer. His voice went quiet. What do you want me to say, Claire? That I'm sorry? I'm not. That I'd undo it? I wouldn't. That I regret protecting you? I don't. Even if it ruined my life. Your life was already ruined. I just changed who was ruining it. She slapped him. The sound cracked through the small room. Vincent didn't move. Didn't touch his face. Just stood there, taking it. Feel better? He asked. No. Good. You shouldn't. He turned toward the door. Get some sleep. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me or Luca. Vincent. He stopped. Didn't turn around. Why do you care this much? She asked. I'm just your secretary. I answered phones. I made coffee. Why does it matter to you what happens to me? He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough. Because when I look at you, I don't see someone who answers phones. I see someone who survived. Someone who got up every day and went to work and smiled even though she was dying inside. Someone who's stronger than she knows. He paused. And because when you walked into my office 2 years ago, you were the first person in 20 years who looked at me like I was human. He walked out before she could respond. Claire stood in the empty cottage, hands still stinging from the slap, and realized she was crying. The first day, Claire explored the cottage. Found clean sheets in the closet, canned food in the pantry, firewood stacked by the fireplace. Everything she needed to survive. Nothing she wanted. Luca brought fresh groceries in the morning. Eggs, bread, coffee. He didn't stay long. Just nodded, handed her the bags, went back to his car. She tried to read. Couldn't focus. Tried to sleep. Couldn't stop thinking. Dylan was dead. Vincent had killed him. She'd helped cover it up. And now someone wanted revenge. The second day, it rained. Hard. The kind of rain that turned the world gray and cold. She sat by the fireplace, watching flames eat the wood, and thought about what Vincent had said. When you walked into my office 2 years ago, you were the first person in 20 years who looked at me like I was human. She'd never thought about it that way. To her, Vincent had always been just her boss. Intimidating, yes. Powerful, obviously. But human. She'd never seen him as a monster. Even now, knowing what he'd done, she couldn't quite reconcile the man who killed Dylan with the man who remembered her birthday, who asked if she'd eaten breakfast, who made sure she got a Christmas bonus even when she'd only worked for him 6 months. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe monsters didn't look like monsters. Maybe they looked like people who cared too much and loved too violently and couldn't separate protection from possession. On the third day, Vincent came back. He arrived in the afternoon, carrying takeout from a restaurant in town. Italian. Her favorite. Thought you might be sick of canned soup, he said. They ate in silence at the small kitchen table. The rain had stopped. Weak sunlight filtered through the windows. Finally, Claire spoke. Did you find out who's been following me? Not yet. But I'm close. How close? Close enough that they're getting desperate. Which means they'll make a mistake soon. And when they do. Vincent looked at her. You don't want to know. Stop doing that. Stop protecting me from the truth. The truth is ugly. My whole life is ugly. I can handle it. He set down his fork. When I find them, I'm going to kill them. Slowly. Painfully. Because they threatened you. Because they made you scared. Because they thought they could use you to get to me. His voice was calm. Matter of fact. That's the truth. Still want to hear it? Claire's hands were shaking. She put them in her lap so he wouldn't see. Yes. Why? Because I need to know if you're doing this for me or for you. Vincent was quiet for a long time. Then he said, both. The honesty of it hit her like a punch. I care about you, he continued. More than I should. More than is smart. But I'm also doing this because in my world, if you let someone threaten what's yours, you lose everything. Fear is currency. Respect is survival. And if people think they can hurt you to hurt me, then I'm weak. And weak men don't last long. So I'm what? A symbol? A possession? No. He leaned forward. You're the first thing in my life that's made me want to be better. And I can't be better if you're dead. She stared at him. At the exhaustion in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands were clenched on the table. He looked like a man on the edge of breaking. When's the last time you slept? She asked. I don't remember. Vincent. I'm fine. You're not. She stood. The bedroom's yours tonight. I'll take the couch. Claire. I'm not arguing. You need sleep. And I need, she paused. I need to not be alone right now. He looked like he wanted to argue. But he was too tired. Too worn down. Okay, he said quietly. Vincent fell asleep within minutes. Claire heard his breathing even out through the thin bedroom door. She sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the dying fire. She should hate him. Should be planning how to turn him in, how to escape, how to get her life back. But her life had never really been hers. With Dylan, she'd been a punching bag. With Vincent, she was, what? Protected? Trapped? Loved? She didn't know anymore. Around midnight, she heard Vincent cry out. A nightmare. She hesitated, then walked to the bedroom door. Opened it quietly. He was tangled in sheets, face twisted, mumbling something she couldn't make out. She recognized the signs. She'd had enough nightmares of her own. She sat on the edge of the bed. Touched his shoulder gently. Vincent. Wake up. He jerked awake, hand going to his waistband where his gun usually was. Then he saw her. Awareness flooded back. Sorry, he said, voice rough. I didn't mean to wake you. You were dreaming. Always am. She should have left. Gone back to the couch. But something kept her there. What do you dream about? She asked. He looked at her for a long moment. Then quietly, my mother. The day I found her. I'm always too late. Always 12 years old. Always helpless. Claire's chest tightened. I dream about Dylan. But in the dreams, he's still alive. Still hurting me. And nobody comes to help. Vincent sat up. They were close now. Too close. She could see every scar on his face, every line around his eyes. Someone did come, he said. I came. I know. Her voice was barely a whisper. That's the problem. You came, and now I don't know how to feel about you. I should hate you. Should be terrified of you. But instead She stopped. Couldn't finish the sentence. Vincent's hand reached up, gentle, brushing a strand of hair from her face. You what? I feel safe with you. And I don't know if that makes me broken or stupid or just desperate for someone to care. It doesn't make you any of those things. It makes you human. She leaned into his touch without thinking. His hand cupped her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone. This is a bad idea, she whispered. Terrible idea, he agreed. But neither of them moved away. If I kiss you, Vincent said quietly, there's no going back. You understand that? Everything changes. Everything already changed. The night Dylan disappeared. Claire. She kissed him. It wasn't gentle. Wasn't soft. It was desperate and angry and full of all the things they couldn't say. His hands tangled in her hair. Hers grabbed his shirt. They broke apart, both breathing hard. Stay, he said. Not a command. A plea. She did. They didn't sleep. Just held each other in the dark, two broken people trying to figure out if broken pieces could fit together or if they just cut each other to ribbons. Outside, waves crashed against rocks. Luca sat in his car, keeping watch. And somewhere in Boston, someone was planning their next move. But for that one night, in that small cottage on the coast, Claire and Vincent pretended the world couldn't touch them. It was the last peace they'd have for a long time. The tension is unreal. Vincent and Claire finally crossed the line. But is this love or desperation? And who's the puppet master pulling strings in the shadows? What do you think happens next? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Claire woke to sunlight streaming through the bedroom window and Vincent's side of the bed empty. She sat up, heart racing. For a moment, she thought he'd left. Then she heard voices outside. Low. Tense. She pulled on her clothes from yesterday and walked to the window. Vincent stood on the rocky overlook behind the cottage, phone pressed to his ear, Luca beside him. Even from here, she could see the tension in Vincent's shoulders. Something had happened. She walked outside. The October air was cold, sharp with salt. Vincent turned as she approached. His face was unreadable. What's wrong? She asked. He pocketed his phone. We need to go back to Boston. Why? Because I know who's been threatening you. Her stomach dropped. Who? Vincent looked at Luca. Luca nodded and walked back toward his car, giving them space. His name is Kyle Porter, Vincent said. Dylan's younger brother. Claire's world tilted. Dylan had a brother. Half-brother. Different mothers. Grew up in foster care after their father went to prison. Dylan was the only family Kyle had left. Vincent paused. And I killed him. She sat down on a nearby rock, legs suddenly weak. How do you know it's him? Luca found him. Kyle works as a private investigator. Has access to surveillance equipment, databases, knows how to stay hidden. He's been watching you since Dylan disappeared. Waiting for proof that I was involved. Does he have proof? Not enough to go to the police. But enough to make trouble. Enough to hurt you. Claire's mind raced. A brother. Dylan had never mentioned a brother. Then again, Dylan had never mentioned much about his past. He'd kept that locked away, same as everything else. What does he want? She asked. Revenge. Justice. Same thing in his mind. Vincent crouched in front of her. I need you to come back to Boston. I need you to meet him. What? No. Are you insane? It's the only way to end this. If he sees you, here's your side of the story, maybe he'll understand why Dylan had to go. Or maybe he'll kill me. He won't. I'll be there. Luca will be there. You'll be safe. Like I was safe with Dylan. Vincent flinched. That was different. Was it? She stood, paced. You keep saying you're protecting me, but all you're doing is dragging me deeper into your world. More danger. More violence. More lies. I know. And I'm sorry. But this is the only way out. There's always another way out. You just don't want to take it because it means giving up control. That's not fair. Isn't it? She turned on him. You could have let me leave. Could have let me disappear. Start over somewhere far away. But you didn't. You kept me close because you wanted to. Because I needed to keep you safe. Or because you can't stand losing something you think belongs to you. The words hung between them like a blade. Vincent's face went hard. Is that what you think? That I see you as property? I don't know what I think anymore. Her voice broke. I don't know who you are. Who I am. What any of this means. He stepped closer. His voice went quiet. Dangerous. You want to know who I am? Fine. I'll tell you. They went back inside. Vincent made coffee neither of them drank. Then he started talking. My father's name was Anthony Romano. Everyone called him Tony the Wolf. He ran the docks in Southie for 30 years. Brutal man. Mean drunk. The kind of guy who'd break your hand for looking at him wrong. Claire sat on the couch, listening. My mother was Siobhan. Irish. Red hair, green eyes, softest voice you ever heard. She sang in the church choir. Volunteered at the soup kitchen. Everyone loved her. Vincent stared at his coffee. Except my father. He saw her kindness as weakness. Saw her softness as an invitation to crush her. The first time he hit her, I was 6. She burned dinner. He backhanded her so hard she hit the wall. I screamed. He hit me too. Told me real men don't cry. Real men take what they want and keep what's theirs. Claire's throat tightened. It got worse every year. By the time I was 10, she was wearing long sleeves year-round. Sunglasses indoors. She stopped singing. Stopped volunteering. Just existed. Like a ghost in our apartment. Vincent set his coffee down. His hands were shaking. I tried to stop him once. I was 11. He was beating her in the kitchen. I grabbed a knife. Told him to leave her alone. He laughed. Took the knife from me like I was nothing. Held it to my throat and said, "You want to be a hero, boy? Heroes die young." Then he made me watch while he beat her worse than before. Made me stand there and do nothing. Said if I moved, he'd kill her right in front of me. Claire covered her mouth. She died a year later. He said she fell down the stairs. Police believed him. Why wouldn't they? Tony Romano was connected. Had judges in his pocket. Cops on his payroll. And my mother was just another dead wife in a city full of them. Vincent looked at Claire. His eyes were red, but no tears fell. Like he'd cried them all out years ago. I made a promise at her funeral. Swore I'd never let it happen to anyone else. Never stand by while someone with power destroyed someone weaker. Never be my father. But you became him anyway, Claire said softly. Yeah. Vincent laughed. Bitter. Empty. I became exactly what I hated. Joined the family business at 17. Learned how to hurt people. How to kill people. How to use fear like a weapon. I told myself it was different. That I had a code. That I only hurt bad people. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a good killer. There's just killers. And I'm one of them. He stood, walked to the window. Then you showed up. This quiet woman with sad eyes who never asked for anything. Who did her job and went home and never complained. And I saw my mother in you. Saw the way you flinched. The way you made yourself small. The way you survived. And when I saw those bruises, I didn't think. I just acted. Did what I should have done for my mother when I had the chance. Claire stood, walked to him. You were 12 years old. You couldn't have stopped him. Maybe not. But I'm not 12 anymore. And I could stop Dylan. So I did. She put her hand on his arm. I'm not your mother, Vincent. I know. And you're not responsible for saving me. I know that too. He turned to face her. But I wanted to anyway. Not because I had to. Because I wanted you to have the life my mother never got. The life where you're safe. Where you're free. Where nobody ever hurts you again. Tears spilled down Claire's cheeks. That's not how life works. It could be. If you let me protect you. And what happens when you're gone? When the next threat comes? When someone else decides I'm the way to hurt you? Do I just live in fear forever? Vincent had no answer for that. Claire pulled away from him. Wrapped her arms around herself. You told me your story. Now I'll tell you mine. Vincent waited. I met Dylan 3 years ago at a coffee shop in Cambridge. I was working 2 jobs, barely making rent. He seemed nice. Normal. He asked me out. I said yes. She sat back down on the couch. Vincent stayed standing, giving her space. First few months were perfect. He was sweet. Attentive. Told me I was beautiful. Told me I deserved better than working myself to death. When I lost my second job, he said I could move in with him. Split expenses. I thought I was lucky. Her voice went flat. Distant. Like she was reading someone else's story. First time he hit me was 6 months in. I'd gone out with a friend from work. Got home an hour late. He said I was cheating. I laughed. Said that was crazy. He slapped me. Then he cried. Said he was sorry. Said he loved me too much. Said he was scared of losing me. I believed him. Thought it was my fault for making him worry. So I stopped going out with friends. Stopped answering texts. Made myself smaller so he wouldn't get scared again. Vincent's hands were fists. But it didn't matter. The smaller I got, the angrier he got. He said I was boring. Pathetic. Said no one else would want me. Said I should be grateful he put up with me. And I believed that too. Because by then, I couldn't remember who I was before him. Couldn't remember what it felt like to be someone worth wanting. She looked up at Vincent. That's why I didn't leave. Not because I loved him. Because I forgot how to love myself. Vincent sat beside her. Didn't touch her. Just sat close enough that she could feel him there. When did you remember? He asked quietly. The night you killed him. Her voice broke. I woke up the next morning and he was gone. And for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't scared. I was angry. Angry that someone had to die for me to feel safe. Angry that I'd wasted 3 years on someone who saw me as a punching bag. Angry at myself for being so weak. You're not weak. I was. Maybe I still am. No. Vincent turned to face her. Weak people don't survive what you survived. Weak people don't walk into their boss's office and demand the truth. Weak people don't slap a mafia boss for crossing a line. You're the strongest person I've ever met. You just don't see it yet. Claire laughed through her tears. Is that what you think this is? Strength? Yes. It feels like falling apart. Sometimes those are the same thing. She leaned into him. He wrapped his arms around her. They sat like that for a long time, two people carrying decades of damage, trying to figure out if holding each other would help or just make the weight worse. Vincent's phone rang. He pulled away from Claire reluctantly, checked the screen. Luca. Yeah. You need to see this. Now. Vincent put it on speaker. What is it? Kyle Porter left something at Claire's old apartment. Taped to the door. Photos. Documents. A letter. Claire's blood went cold. What kind of photos? Of you and Vincent. Outside this cottage. Holding each other. Through the bedroom window. Luca paused. He's been watching you both. And now he has proof you're together. Vincent's face went white. Tell me you secured the scene. I did. But boss, there's more. The letter says he's going to the feds. Going to tell them everything. Dylan's murder. Your involvement. Claire's cover-up. He's giving you 48 hours to turn yourself in. If you don't, he goes public with everything. Claire couldn't breathe. He has photos of us? Not just photos. Timestamps. Locations. A whole dossier. Luca's voice was grim. He's been building a case for weeks. This isn't just about revenge anymore. This is about destroying you both. Vincent stood, paced. Where is he now? Don't know. But he wants to meet. Says he'll text you the location tomorrow. Says if you don't show up alone, he releases everything to the media and the FBI. I'll be there. Vincent, it's a trap. I know. But what choice do I have? He hung up. Looked at Claire. She saw it in his eyes. The decision he'd already made. You're going to kill him, she said. I'm going to do what I have to do. Even if it makes everything worse. It can't get worse. He has evidence. Evidence that puts you in prison. I'm not letting that happen. So you'll kill Dylan's brother. Add another body to the pile. Another person who dies because of me. Not because of you. Because of me. Because I made the choice to protect you and I'd make it again. Claire stood. Her whole body was shaking. I can't do this. I can't watch you destroy yourself trying to save me. Then don't watch. Go somewhere safe. Let me handle this. That's not how this works. You don't get to make all the decisions. Then what do you want me to do, Claire? Let him destroy you? Let him send you to prison? Let the FBI tear your life apart? I want you to stop. She was screaming now. Stop killing people. Stop lying. Stop pretending this is love when it's just obsession. The words hit Vincent like bullets. He stepped back. Face blank. Walls going up. That's what you think this is? His voice was cold. Empty. Obsession. I don't know what it is. But I know it's not healthy. I know every time I'm with you, someone ends up dead. I know I can't keep living like this. Fine. He grabbed his keys. Stay here. Don't leave. Don't talk to anyone. I'll handle Kyle. And when it's done, you're free to go. Free to hate me. Free to forget you ever knew me. Vincent. He walked out. The door slammed. Claire stood alone in the cottage, tears streaming down her face, and realized she'd just pushed away the only person who'd ever fought for her. And she didn't know if she'd done the right thing or made the worst mistake of her life. Outside, Vincent got in his car. His hands gripped the steering wheel so hard it hurt. Luca appeared at the window. Boss. Get her out of here. Tonight. Somewhere Kyle can't find her. Where are you going? To end this. Vincent drove away, leaving Claire behind, and told himself it was for her own good. But the truth was simpler. Darker. He was going to kill Kyle Porter. Not to protect Claire. Not to protect himself. But because some part of him wanted the violence. Wanted the release. Wanted to stop pretending he was anything other than what his father had made him. A monster. Everything just exploded. Vincent's past is devastating. Claire's breaking point hit, and Kyle has evidence that could destroy them both. Is this love or something darker? Can Vincent stop before he becomes the villain of this story? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Vincent drove through the night, no destination in mind. Just movement. Distance. Anything to quiet the noise in his head. It's just obsession. Claire's words played on repeat. He gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles went white. Maybe she was right. Maybe he'd convinced himself this was love when it was really just him trying to rewrite history. Save the woman his father killed by saving a different woman 3 decades later. His phone rang. Tony. Yeah. Where are you? Luca said you left the safe house. Driving. Driving where? Does it matter? Tony was quiet for a moment. Kyle Porter contacted me. Vincent's foot hit the brake. The car screeched to a stop on the empty highway. What did you say? He called the office. Said he wanted to make a deal. Said he'd forget about Dylan if you left the city. Walked away from everything. The business. The territory. Claire. He wants me to run. He wants you gone. Says if you disappear, he'll destroy the evidence. Let Claire live her life in peace. Vincent's chest tightened. And if I don't? Then he burns everything down. You. Claire. The whole family. He's not bluffing, Vin. This kid's got nothing to lose. Vincent closed his eyes. Saw his mother's face. Saw Claire's face. Saw the endless line of people he'd hurt trying to protect people he loved. Tell him I'll think about it, Vincent said. You're actually considering this? I don't know. Maybe it's time. Time for what? To stop pretending I'm anything other than what I am. A guy who destroys everything he touches. That's the guilt talking. No. It's the truth talking. For once. He hung up. Sat in his car on the side of Route 1, watching headlights blur past, and thought about what it would mean to disappear. No more crew. No more territory. No more name that made people go quiet. Just Vincent. Nobody. Invisible. The thought didn't scare him as much as it should have. His phone buzzed. A text from Claire. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Please come back. He stared at the message. Typed 3 different responses. Deleted them all. Finally, I'm coming back. We need to talk. He turned the car around. Claire was sitting on the front steps of the cottage when Vincent pulled up. Dawn was breaking. Pink and gold light spilled across the water. She stood as he approached. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. I thought you left for good, she said. Almost did. He stopped a few feet away. Hands in his pockets. Keeping distance. But I needed to tell you something first. Okay. You were right. About the obsession. About me making decisions for you. About all of it. He looked at the ocean. I've spent my whole life controlling things. People. Situations. I thought if I controlled enough, I could stop bad things from happening. But all I did was become the bad thing. Vincent. Let me finish. He turned back to her. Kyle offered me a deal. I walk away. Leave Boston. Disappear. And he destroys the evidence. Leaves you alone. Lets you have your life back. Claire's face went pale. You're leaving. I'm considering it. Because of what I said? Because it's the right thing to do. You deserve better than this. Better than me. Better than constantly looking over your shoulder wondering who's going to die next. She stepped closer. And what if I don't want better? What if I want you? You don't mean that. Yes, I do. Her voice was firm now. Strong. I've spent 3 years with a man who made me feel worthless. Who convinced me I deserved the pain. And then I spent 2 years working for a man who never once made me feel small. Who asked if I'd eaten breakfast. Who remembered my birthday. Who saw me. That's different than love. Is it? She was right in front of him now. Because it feels like love to me. Messy. Complicated. Terrifying. But love. Vincent's throat tightened. I killed for you, Claire. That's not love. That's what my mother needed, she interrupted. What I needed. Someone willing to stand between me and the thing that was killing me. You think I don't know that's wrong? That violence doesn't solve problems? I know. But knowing doesn't change the fact that I'm alive because of you. Free because of you. Free. He laughed. Bitter. You're hiding in a cottage on the coast being hunted by a dead man's brother. That's not freedom. No. But it's a chance at freedom. Which is more than I had before. She reached for his hand. He let her take it. I'm scared, she said quietly. Scared of you. Scared of this. Scared of what happens next. But I'm more scared of going back to who I was. Small. Silent. Invisible. And you make me feel visible. Even knowing what I am. Especially knowing what you are. Because you showed me. Didn't lie. Didn't hide. Just gave me the truth and let me decide. Vincent pulled her close. Rested his forehead against hers. I don't know how to do this. The normal thing. The relationship thing. I've spent 20 years alone because it was safer. Easier. I don't know how to do it either. 3 years with Dylan taught me how to survive, not how to love. So we'll figure it out together. What if I screw it up? What if I hurt you? Then I'll tell you. And you'll listen. And we'll try again. That's what normal people do, right? He smiled. First real smile in days. I don't think we're normal people. Probably not. But we're what we've got. He kissed her. Soft this time. Gentle. Like she was something precious instead of something to possess. When they broke apart, Claire said, "Don't leave. Don't take Kyle's deal. Stay and fight. Fighting means more violence. More death. You said you couldn't watch me destroy myself." I was angry. Scared. I said things I didn't mean. She cupped his face. "But I meant this. I choose you. Broken. Dangerous. Complicated. I choose you." Vincent closed his eyes. Let himself feel it. The weight of being chosen. Being wanted. Being worth staying for. "Okay," he said. "I'll stay. But we do this different. No more secrets. No more making decisions without you. We are partners. Equal. You have a say in everything. 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 Even how we handle Kyle. Even that." She nodded. "Then here's what I think we should do." They sat at the small kitchen table, coffee between them, and talked for hours. Claire's plan was simple. Dangerous. But it was the only way to end this without more bodies. "We meet with Kyle," she said. "But not to fight. To talk." "He's not going to talk. He wants revenge. He wants justice. There's a difference." She leaned forward. "His brother was a bad person. But Kyle doesn't know that. All he knows is Dylan's gone and you're responsible. So we tell him the truth. Show him who Dylan really was. And if he doesn't care, then we give him what he wants." Vincent's jaw tightened. "Which is?" "Me." Claire held up her hand before he could argue. "Not forever. Just long enough for me to explain. To help him understand. He's watching me because he thinks I'm your victim. What if I tell him I'm not? That I chose this? That I knew what you did and stayed anyway? That makes you an accomplice. I already am one. I lied to the police. Covered for you. Accepted your protection. I'm in this whether I want to be or not." Vincent stood, paced. "I don't like it. Too many things can go wrong. Name one plan where things can't go wrong." He had no answer for that. "Kyle's not his brother," Claire continued. "He became a private investigator, not a criminal. He works within the law. That means he has a conscience. A code. If I can reach that part of him, maybe we can end this without more blood." Vincent stopped pacing. Looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman who'd walked into his office 2 years ago quiet and scared and was now sitting here planning a confrontation with a man who wanted them both destroyed. She'd changed. Or maybe she just remembered who she was before Dylan had beaten it out of her. Either way, she wasn't the same woman anymore. "If we do this," Vincent said slowly, "we do it my way. Controlled environment. Luca and Tony nearby. First sign of trouble, we're gone." "Agreed. And if it goes south, you run. You don't look back. You don't try to save me. You just run." "Vincent." "That's the deal, Claire. You want equal say? Fine. But this is mine. I don't risk you. Not for anything." She stared at him, then nodded. "Okay." He pulled out his phone. Called Tony. Set up a meet with Kyle Porter. Tomorrow night. The old warehouse in Southie. The one we use for sit-downs. "You sure about this?" "No. But we're doing it anyway." He hung up. Looked at Claire. "Tomorrow night, this ends. One way or another." "I know." They spent the rest of the day in the cottage. Not talking about Kyle or Dylan or what came next. Just existing together. Being present. Vincent taught Claire how to play poker with a deck of cards he found in a drawer. She was terrible at it. Kept laughing when she got a good hand. "You'd get killed in a real game," he said. "Good thing I'm not planning a casino heist." They made dinner together. Pasta with Jared sauce because neither of them could really cook. It was bad. They ate it anyway. As the sun set, they sat on the rocky overlook behind the cottage, watching the ocean turn from blue to gold to black. "Tell me something good," Claire said. "Something from before everything went wrong." Vincent thought for a moment. "My mother used to take me to Castle Island in Southie. Every Sunday after church. We'd walk around the fort, eat ice cream, watch the planes fly into Logan. She'd make up stories about where the people on the planes were going. Paris. Tokyo. Somewhere better than where we were." Did you believe her? Every time. She made the world seem bigger than our apartment. Like there were possibilities beyond what we could see. "She sounds wonderful." She was. Vincent paused. "I think she would have liked you. You remind me of her. The quiet strength. The way you survive things that should break you." Claire leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'm sorry you lost her." Me too. They sat in silence. The waves crashed below. Stars appeared above. For a moment, everything was peaceful. Whatever happens tomorrow, Claire said, I want you to know something. What? I don't regret any of this. Meeting you. Working for you. Falling for you. Even the scary parts. Even the parts that hurt. Because for the first time in years, I feel alive. Vincent kissed the top of her head. I don't regret it either. They stayed outside until the cold drove them in. Then they went to bed, holding each other like they were the only solid things in a world that kept shifting. Neither of them slept much. Too much waiting ahead. Too much unknown. But they had each other. And for tonight, that was enough. Dawn came too fast. Vincent was up first, making coffee, when Claire emerged from the bedroom. She'd found clean clothes in the dresser. Someone, probably Luca, had stocked the place. Dark jeans. A gray sweater. Her hair pulled back. She looked ready. Determined. You don't have to do this, Vincent said. I can meet him alone. Handle it the old way. The old way means he ends up dead. And then what? His friends come looking? His family? When does it end? It ends when they stop coming. Or it ends when we stop running. She took the coffee he offered. I'm not backing out. We're doing this together. Luca arrived an hour later. He looked grim. Kyle confirmed the meet. 8 tonight. He's coming alone. Says if he sees more than you and Claire, he walks and releases everything. He won't see anyone, Vincent said. But you'll be there. Tony too. Hidden. Ready. Already planned for it. Luca looked at Claire. You sure about this? No. But I'm doing it anyway. He nodded. Respect in his eyes. You're tougher than you look. I've had good teachers. They spent the day preparing. Vincent went over the warehouse layout. Exits. Sight lines. Contingencies. Claire listened, memorized, asked questions. By 7, they were ready. The drive to Southie was quiet. Vincent kept one hand on the wheel, the other holding Claire's. She didn't let go. The warehouse sat near the waterfront, surrounded by empty lots and abandoned buildings. It had been in Vincent's family for 40 years. Neutral ground. Where deals got made. Where problems got solved. Tonight it would be one or the other. Vincent parked around back. Checked his gun. Looked at Claire. Last chance to change your mind. I'm not changing my mind. If anything happens. It won't. But if it does. She kissed him. Hard. Final. I love you. I don't know when it happened or how or if it makes any sense. But I love you. And whatever happens in there, I need you to know that. Vincent's chest cracked open. I love you too. I've loved you since the day you walked into my office and made me feel human again. They held each other in the dark car, two people about to walk into hell, hoping love was enough to walk back out. Then they got out of the car and went inside. Kyle Porter was already there, waiting in the center of the empty warehouse. He looked like Dylan. Same height. Same build. But his eyes were different. Colder. Sharper. He held a manila folder. The evidence. You actually came, Kyle said. I gave you my word, Vincent replied. Kyle's eyes shifted to Claire. And you brought her. Brave or stupid? Neither, Claire said, stepping forward. I came because I need you to hear the truth. The truth? Kyle laughed. The truth is you helped this monster kill my brother. Your brother was a monster too, Claire said. Voice steady. Strong. And I need you to understand why he had to die. Kyle's face went hard. Then start talking. You've got 10 minutes before I call the feds. Claire looked at Vincent. He nodded. She turned back to Kyle. And she started telling the truth. All of it. The confrontation is here. Claire's laying everything bare. Can she reach Kyle's conscience before it's too late? Will truth be enough to stop the violence? What do you think Kyle will do? Drop your predictions below. Claire stood in the center of the warehouse, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and told Kyle Porter everything. She told him about the first time Dylan hit her. About the apologies that meant nothing. About the years of walking on eggshells, trying to be small enough, quiet enough, perfect enough that maybe he'd stop. She showed him her wrist. The bruises had faded to yellow-green, but they were still there. These are from the last time. He grabbed me because I was 10 minutes late coming home. Squeezed until I thought the bones would break. Kyle's face was stone. He had anger issues. That doesn't mean he deserved to die. No, Claire agreed. But it means I deserved to live. And with him, I was dying. Slowly. Every day. Until there was nothing left of who I used to be. So you had him killed. Kyle's voice was flat. Accusatory. I didn't have him killed. I didn't know what Vincent was going to do. Her voice broke. I just told him Dylan's name. And that night, Dylan was gone. And you didn't go to the police. Didn't report it. You covered for a murderer. Yes. The admission hung in the air. Why? Kyle demanded. Why protect someone who killed your boyfriend? Because Vincent saved my life. Claire stepped closer. Your brother was going to kill me eventually. Maybe not that week. Maybe not that month. But eventually. Men like Dylan don't stop. They escalate. And I was too broken to leave. Too scared to ask for help. So Vincent made the choice I couldn't. That's not justice. That's vigilante murder. You're right. It is. Claire's voice was steady now. And I should hate Vincent for it. Should turn him in. Should do the right thing. But the right thing would have left me dead in that apartment with Dylan standing over me saying he didn't mean it. Saying he loved me. Saying it was my fault. Kyle's hands tightened on the folder. Dylan wasn't like that. He wouldn't. When's the last time you saw your brother? Claire interrupted. What? You said you were in foster care. Different homes. When's the last time you actually spent time with Dylan? Kyle's jaw worked. 5 years ago. Maybe 6. So you don't know who he became. You just know who he was when you were kids. I know he didn't deserve to be murdered. Maybe not. Claire's voice softened. But I didn't deserve to be beaten either. And someone had to choose. Vincent chose me. I'm sorry that choice hurt you. I'm sorry Dylan's dead. But I'm not sorry I'm alive. Silence filled the warehouse. Vincent stood several feet behind Claire, letting her speak, fighting every instinct to step in front of her. His hand rested near his waistband where his gun waited. Tony and Luca were positioned in the shadows. Waiting. Watching. Kyle looked between Claire and Vincent. His face was a war zone of emotions. Grief. Anger. Confusion. I spent 6 months tracking you, Kyle said finally. Following you. Documenting everything. Building a case. I told myself it was about justice. About making sure my brother didn't die for nothing. He opened the folder. Pulled out photos. Claire and Vincent at the cottage. Holding each other. Kissing. But then I saw these. Saw the way you look at him. The way he looks at you. And I realized this isn't about justice anymore. It's about 2 people who found each other in the worst possible way. Kyle, Vincent started. Shut up. Kyle's voice was sharp. I'm not talking to you. You're a killer. A criminal. You don't get to justify what you did. He turned back to Claire. But you're different. You didn't choose this. You just survived it. I'm choosing it now, Claire said. I'm choosing to stay with Vincent. To build something with him. I know that makes me complicit. I know that makes me. It makes you human, Kyle interrupted. It makes you someone who's been through hell and is trying to find a way out. He closed the folder. Dylan and I grew up in the system. Different homes. Different families. But we stayed in touch. He was all I had. When I was 16, I got placed with a good family. Teachers. Stable. They wanted to adopt me. Dylan was jealous. Said I was abandoning him. We fought. I told him he needed help. That his anger was going to destroy him. He told me to go to hell. Said he didn't need anyone. That was the last real conversation we had. Everything after that was surface. Holidays. Birthdays. Texts that said nothing. Kyle looked at Vincent. I wanted you to be a monster. Wanted it to be simple. Good brother avenges bad death. But nothing about this is simple. No, Vincent said quietly. It's not. Dylan hurt her. Kyle pointed at Claire. You hurt him. She hurt herself by staying. Now I'm here hurting all of us by dragging this out. He laughed. Bitter. Empty. Everyone's just hurting everyone. It doesn't have to keep going, Claire said. You can stop it. Right here. Right now. How? Let him go. Let us go. Take the evidence and burn it. Walk away. And what? Pretend Dylan never existed. No. Remember him. Mourn him. But let the rest of us live. Kyle stared at the folder in his hands. At the photos. The documents. The proof that could destroy them all. If I do this, he said slowly, if I let you walk, I need something in return. Vincent tensed. What? The truth. All of it. Where's Dylan's body? Vincent had known this moment would come. Had prepared for it. But standing here, looking at Kyle Porter's grief-stricken face, the words felt heavier than they should. Boston Harbor, Vincent said. Off Castle Island. Weighted down. He's not coming back. Kyle closed his eyes. Did he suffer? Vincent could lie. Could say it was quick. Painless. But he'd promised Claire no more lies. Yes, Vincent said. He suffered. Not because I wanted him to, but because he fought. Tried to make deals. Offered money. Begged. It took longer than it should have. Kyle's face twisted. You son of a... I'm not going to apologize, Vincent continued. Your brother put his hands on Claire. Made her bleed. Made her scared to go home. That's not something I forgive. That's not something I let slide. So you made yourself judge, jury, and executioner? Yes. And you think that makes you righteous? No. It makes me guilty. But it also makes her safe. And I'd do it again. Kyle's hands were shaking. The folder crumpled in his grip. You took the only family I had left. He took himself the moment he decided hurting her was acceptable. That's not your call to make. Then whose call is it? Vincent's voice rose. The cops who wouldn't have done anything until she was dead? The courts that would have given him probation and anger management classes? The system that fails women like Claire every single day. The system's not perfect, but it's better than you playing God. The system buried my mother in an unmarked grave and let my father walk free. So forgive me if I don't trust it to protect people I care about. Kyle and Vincent stared at each other. Two men on opposite sides of a line neither of them had chosen. Claire stepped between them. Stop. Both of you. This isn't helping. She turned to Kyle. You want justice for Dylan. I understand that. But killing Vincent or sending him to prison won't bring your brother back. It'll just create more pain. More loss. More people mourning people who are gone. So what, I just forget? Move on? Act like none of this happened. No. You remember. You grieve. You live with the fact that your brother was complicated. That he was capable of love and violence. That he deserved better and so did I. And you let that be enough. That's not enough. It has to be. Because the alternative is more bodies. More revenge. An endless cycle of people hurting people until everyone's dead or destroyed. Kyle looked at her. Really looked at her. You really love him? The man who killed your boyfriend. Dylan wasn't my boyfriend at the end. He was my captor. And yes, I love Vincent. I love him because he saw me when I was invisible. Because he cared when no one else did. Because he chose me when I couldn't choose myself. Even knowing what he is. Especially knowing what he is. Because he's not just a killer. He's someone who learned violence is the only language that works in his world. And he's trying to be better. For me. With me. Kyle shook his head. This is insane. Maybe. But it's our insane. And we're asking you to let us have it. Kyle looked down at the folder. At the evidence that could end everything. At the power he held in his hands. If I do this, he said, I need a promise. Anything, Claire said. You leave Boston. Both of you. Start somewhere new. Somewhere Dylan's name doesn't follow you. Somewhere I don't have to see you and remember what I lost. Vincent and Claire looked at each other. Okay, Vincent said. We'll go. And one more thing. Kyle's voice hardened. If you ever hurt her. If I hear even a whisper that you've put your hands on her the way Dylan did, I'll come back. And I won't bring evidence. I'll bring a gun. Understood. Kyle stared at them for a long moment. Then he walked to a metal trash barrel in the corner of the warehouse. Pulled out a lighter. Set the folder on fire. Photos curled and blackened. Documents turned to ash. Evidence disappeared in smoke. This is me letting go, Kyle said, watching it burn. Not forgetting. Not forgiving. Just letting go. Claire started crying. Relief. Grief. Gratitude. All of it pouring out at once. Vincent pulled her close. Held her while she broke apart. Kyle watched the last of the evidence burn. Then he turned to leave. Kyle, Claire called. He stopped. Didn't turn around. Your brother, she swallowed hard. In the beginning, he was good to me. He made me laugh. Made me feel seen. That part was real. I need you to know that. There was good in him, even if the bad outweighed it at the end. Kyle's shoulders shook. Just once. Then he walked out of the warehouse and disappeared into the night. Vincent and Claire stood in the empty warehouse, watching the last embers die in the barrel. It's over, Claire whispered. Not yet. Vincent pulled out his phone. Called Luca. Stand down. He's gone. It's done. You sure, boss? I'm sure. He hung up. Looked at Claire. We need to leave Boston. Tonight. Kyle gave us an out, but if we stay, someone else will come. Another threat. Another problem. It never ends unless we end it. Where would we go? Anywhere. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere my name doesn't matter. Somewhere you can be whoever you want to be. Claire thought about it. About leaving behind her apartment, her city, the life she'd built, or the life she'd survived. What about your crew? Your territory? Everything you've built. Tony can run it. He's been ready for years. And honestly, Vincent pulled her closer. I'm tired. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of solving problems with violence. Tired of being afraid that one day you'll wake up and realize you're with a monster. You're not a monster. I'm not a good man either. Maybe not. But you're my man. And that's enough. Vincent kissed her. Soft. Tender. Like they had all the time in the world instead of hours before they needed to disappear. They walked out of the warehouse together. Luca and Tony were waiting by the cars. It's really over? Tony asked. It's over, Vincent confirmed. And I'm out. Effective immediately. The territory's yours. The crew's yours. All of it. Tony's eyes widened. Vin, you can't just. I can. And I am. You've earned this. You'll be a better boss than I ever was. Where will you go? Don't know yet. Somewhere far. Somewhere safe. Somewhere I can try to be the man she deserves. Tony looked at Claire. Then at Vincent. You sure about this? More sure than I've ever been about anything. Tony pulled Vincent into a hug. Held him tight. Be happy, brother. You've earned it. So have you. They separated. Vincent shook Luca's hand. Got in his car with Claire. Drove away from Southie. Away from the life he'd known since he was 17. Away from violence and territory and the endless weight of being Vincent Romano. They stopped at Claire's apartment first. She packed a bag. Essentials only. Clothes. Photos. Her mother's necklace. Everything else stayed behind. Then they went to Vincent's place. He did the same. Packed light. Left the expensive suits, the Italian shoes, the symbols of who he'd been. By midnight, they were on I-95 heading south. No plan. No destination. Just movement and hope in each other. Where should we go? Claire asked, watching the city lights fade in the rearview mirror. Somewhere warm. Somewhere we can start over. North Carolina? Georgia? Florida, maybe. Get a small place near the beach. I'll find work doing something normal. Construction. Security. Something that doesn't involve hurting people. And me. You can do anything you want. Go back to school. Start a business. Paint. Write. Whatever makes you happy. Claire smiled. I like the sound of that. Being happy. Me too. They drove through the night. Stopped at a rest area in Connecticut for coffee and gas. Kept going. By dawn, they were in New Jersey. By noon, Delaware. By sunset, somewhere in Virginia. Claire slept in the passenger seat. Vincent drove, one hand on the wheel, the other holding hers. For the first time in 20 years, he wasn't afraid. Wasn't looking over his shoulder. Wasn't waiting for the next threat. He was just a man in a car with a woman he loved, driving towards something better. It felt like freedom. They made it to South Carolina before everything fell apart. Vincent's phone rang at 3 in the morning. They were staying in a cheap motel outside Charleston. Claire was asleep beside him. He answered quietly. Yeah, boss. Luca's voice. Panicked. We got a problem. Vincent's stomach dropped. What kind? Kyle's dead. Someone shot him outside his apartment 2 hours ago. Cops are calling it a robbery, but it wasn't. No. It was a message. And you're going to want to hear what the message said. Vincent got out of bed, walked outside to the parking lot. Tell me. The shooter left a note pinned to Kyle's chest. Said, you let them walk. Now you pay. Next is her. Everything stopped. Who sent it? Don't know yet. But whoever it is, they're pissed you made peace with Kyle. They wanted blood. And now they're coming for Claire. Vincent's hands were shaking. I need you to find out who. Tonight. Pull every contact. Call in every favor. I don't care what it costs. Already on it. But boss, you need to know something else. What? The note was typed on Romano Company letterhead. Whoever did this has access to your office. Your files. Your people. Vincent's blood went cold. You're saying someone inside the crew killed Kyle? Or someone with deep connections to us? Yeah. Find them. And when you do, don't kill them. I want to do it myself. You're coming back? No. I'm protecting Claire. But once she's safe, I'm coming back to finish this. He hung up. Stood in the parking lot, staring at nothing, and realized the truth. He tried to walk away. Tried to be better. Tried to leave the violence behind. But violence didn't let go that easy. It followed him. Clung to him. Infected everything he touched. Kyle was dead because of him. And now Claire was in danger again. Because of him. Maybe she'd been right in the cottage. Maybe this wasn't love. Maybe it was just obsession dressed up as protection. Maybe he was his father after all. He walked back into the motel room. Claire was awake, sitting up in bed, looking worried. What's wrong? He told her. All of it. Kyle's murder. The note. The threat. By the end, she was crying. This is never going to end, is it? She said. We can't outrun your world. It's always going to find us. I'll fix this. How? By killing more people? By going back to Boston and starting a war? By proving you're exactly what everyone thinks you are? If that's what it takes to keep you safe. I don't want you to keep me safe. She stood, paced. I want you to be free. To be happy. To be something other than a weapon. I don't know how to be anything else. Then learn. Please. For me. For us. Learn to let go. Vincent looked at her. At the woman he loved. The woman he'd killed for. The woman he'd destroy the world to protect. And he realized he couldn't give her what she needed. He couldn't be the man she deserved. He could only be what he'd always been. A killer. Pack your things, he said. Voice flat. Empty. What? Pack. I'm taking you somewhere safe. Somewhere far from me. And then I'm going back to Boston to end this. Vincent, no. This is the only way, Claire. As long as you're with me, you're in danger. As long as I'm in your life, people will use you to hurt me. So I'm removing myself from your life. You can't just decide that. I already did. She stared at him. Horror and heartbreak warring on her face. You're pushing me away. Just like everyone else. Just like Dylan. Vincent's voice was cold. Hard. Good. Because maybe that means you'll finally see me for what I am. A man who destroys everything he loves. I don't believe that. Believe it. Because Kyle's dead. And you're next unless I fix this. And fixing it means going back to the only thing I'm good at. Violence. Claire was sobbing now. Please don't do this. Please don't leave me. Every word cut him. But he kept his face blank. Kept his walls up. Because if he let her see how much this was killing him, he'd never be strong enough to walk away. Get dressed, he said. We're leaving in 10 minutes. He walked outside. Sat in the car. Gripped the steering wheel until his hands went numb. Inside the motel room, Claire packed her things through tears. And both of them knew that when the sun came up, everything they'd built would be ash. Everything just shattered. Kyle's dead, someone's coming for Claire, and Vincent's about to sacrifice their future to save her life. Is this really the end? Can love survive when violence never stops? Tell me what you think happens next. Vincent drove Claire to a small town in Georgia. 3 hours south of Charleston. Population 2,000. The kind of place where nobody asked questions and strangers blended into the background. He rented her a room at a bed and breakfast run by an older woman named Ruth who talked too much about her grandchildren and didn't ask why a young woman was checking in alone at dawn. You'll be safe here, Vincent said, standing in the doorway. I left cash in the nightstand. Enough for 6 months. Luca will check in once a week. If you need anything. I need you to stay. He couldn't look at her. I can't. Why? Because you're scared? Because it's easier to run than fight for us. Because keeping you alive matters more than keeping you happy. Claire grabbed his arm. That's not your decision to make. I'm an adult. I get to choose what risks I take. What battles I fight. Who I love. And I'm choosing to remove the risk. To end the battle. To love you enough to let you go. That's not love. That's cowardice. The word hit him like a fist. He turned to face her. You think I'm scared? Yes. I think you're terrified. Not of dying. Not of violence. But of actually being happy. Of having something good and believing you deserve to keep it. Vincent's jaw clenched. I don't deserve you. I never did. And the longer you stay with me, the more people die. Kyle. Dylan. Who's next? Tony? Luca? You. So you'd rather I live without you? Safe and miserable and alone. Yes. Because alive and miserable is better than dead. Not to me. She stepped closer. Put her hand on his chest. Over his heart. I spent 3 years with Dylan wishing I was dead. Praying someone would save me. And you did. You gave me a reason to wake up. To fight. To remember who I was before fear made me small. And now I'm asking you to do the hardest thing. To walk away from me so you can actually live. Not just survive. Live. I don't want to live without you. You will. You're stronger than you think. Claire's face crumpled. Please don't leave me. Vincent pulled her close. Held her while she cried. Memorized the feeling of her in his arms. The smell of her hair. The sound of her breathing. I love you, he whispered. More than I've ever loved anything. And that's why I have to go. He kissed her forehead. Then he pulled away. Walked to the door. Vincent. He stopped. Hand on the doorknob. If you walk out that door, I'm not waiting for you. I'm not sitting here hoping you come back. I'm moving on. Building a life. And when you realize you made a mistake, when you decide you want me after all, it'll be too late. He didn't turn around. Good. You should move on. Find someone normal. Someone who doesn't have blood on his hands. I don't want normal. I want you. You can't have me. Not anymore. He walked out. Got in his car. Drove away. In the rearview mirror, he saw Claire standing in the doorway. Watching him leave. Breaking apart. He made it 3 miles before he had to pull over. Before the grief hit him so hard he couldn't breathe. He'd saved her. Protected her. Loved her. And now he'd destroyed her anyway. Just like his father had destroyed his mother. The cycle never ended. It just found new victims. Vincent drove straight to Boston. 18 hours. No stops except for gas. No sleep. Just rage and grief and the singular focus that had kept him alive for 20 years. Find the threat. Eliminate it. End this. He arrived at the office building in Southie at midnight. The 8th floor was dark. Everyone gone home. He took the elevator up, walked into his old office. Tony was waiting for him. Knew you'd come back, Tony said. You find out who killed Kyle. Yeah. And you're not going to like it. Tell me. Tony slid a folder across the desk. Vincent opened it. Found a photo of a man he recognized. Gerald. His accountant. The nervous guy who handled the books. Gerald. Vincent's voice was ice. Why? Because you were getting soft. Making peace instead of war. Walking away from the business. He thought it made the family weak. So he decided to send a message. Kill Kyle. Frame it like someone else wanted revenge. Force you to come back and be the boss he thought you should be. Vincent's hands were shaking. Where is he? Basement. Tied to a chair. Waiting for you. Vincent stood. Grabbed his gun from the desk drawer where Tony had left it. Checked the clip. Full. You sure about this? Tony asked. Once you pull that trigger, you're back in. All the way. No more walking away. No more Claire. Just this. Forever. Vincent looked at the gun in his hand. Thought about Claire in that bed and breakfast. Safe. Alone. Hating him. Thought about Kyle's body on a morgue slab. Thought about his mother's grave. I'm sure, he said. He walked to the basement. Concrete floors. Exposed pipes. The smell of mildew and old fear. Gerald sat tied to a chair in the center of the room. His face was already bruised. Luca's work, probably. But he was conscious. Aware. He looked up when Vincent entered. Tried to smile. Boss. I can explain. Vincent shot him. Not in the head. In the kneecap. Gerald screamed. That's for Kyle, Vincent said. Voice calm. Cold. This is for thinking you could manipulate me. He shot the other knee. Gerald was sobbing now. Begging. Please. Please, I'm sorry. I just wanted to protect the family. I thought. You thought wrong. Vincent raised the gun. Pointed it at Gerald's head. This was it. The moment. The choice. Pull the trigger and prove he was exactly what everyone thought. A killer. A monster. A man who solved problems with violence. Or walk away. Let the system handle it. Let Gerald go to prison. Let justice be someone else's job. He thought about Claire. About the disappointment in her eyes when he'd left. About her words. I think you're terrified of actually being happy. Of having something good and believing you deserve to keep it. His hand wavered. Boss. Luca's voice from the doorway. What do you want me to do? Vincent lowered the gun. Call the cops. Anonymous tip. Tell them Gerald Porter confessed to killing Kyle Porter. They'll find the evidence we plant. He'll go away for life. You're not going to kill him? No. I'm done killing. He walked past Luca. Up the stairs. Out of the building. Into the cold November night. Tony caught up with him in the parking lot. What now? Now I try to be better. Try to earn the second chance Claire gave me. Try to be the man she thinks I can be. You really walking away from all this? Vincent looked at the building. At the empire his family had built on blood and fear and violence. At the legacy he'd been born into and never questioned. Yeah, he said. I really am. And if someone comes for you? For the territory? For Claire? Then I'll deal with it. But not like this. Not with more bodies. There has to be another way. There's not. Not in our world. Then maybe it's time for a new world. He got in his car. Drove away from Southie. Away from the life he'd known. Away from everything familiar and safe. He drove south. Back toward Georgia. Back toward Claire. He didn't know if she'd take him back. Didn't know if he deserved another chance. But he had to try. Claire spent 3 days in the bed and breakfast, not eating, not sleeping, just existing. Ruth brought her soup. Claire didn't touch it. Ruth brought her tea. It went cold. On the 4th day, a package arrived. No return address. Just her name. She opened it. Found a stack of letters. 20 of them. All in Vincent's handwriting. Her hands shook as she opened the first one. Claire. I don't know if you'll read these. I don't know if you'll burn them or throw them away or keep them hidden in a drawer somewhere. But I needed to write them. Needed to say the things I couldn't say when I left. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for leaving. For making decisions for you. For thinking I knew what was best when all I really knew was fear. You were right. I was scared. Not of dying. Not of violence. But of losing you. Of watching you get hurt because of me. Of becoming my father. My whole life, I've used violence to solve problems. To protect people. To control situations. It's the only language I've ever spoken. But violence didn't protect my mother. It just made me into the kind of man who thinks love looks like control. I don't want to be that man anymore. I'm going to try to be better. For you. For us. For the future I hope we can still have. If you can forgive me. If you can give me another chance. If you can believe I'm capable of change. I'm coming back. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. But soon. And when I do, I'll be different. Not perfect. Not fixed. Just different. I love you. Vincent. Claire read all 20 letters. They were raw. Honest. Vulnerable in a way Vincent had never been in person. He wrote about his mother. About his guilt. About the nightmares he still had. About the first time he killed someone and how he'd thrown up afterward and his father had called him weak. He wrote about the moment he saw her in his office. About how she'd smiled at him and he'd forgotten, just for a second, what he was. He wrote about the night he killed Dylan. About the weight of that choice. About how he'd do it again but wished there had been another way. He wrote about leaving her in Georgia. About driving away. About pulling over 3 miles later and crying for the first time in 20 years. He wrote about going back to Boston. About almost killing Gerald. About choosing not to. About walking away from the family business. He wrote about being scared of happiness. About believing he didn't deserve good things. About learning that maybe he did. By the last letter, Claire was crying so hard she could barely read the words. Claire. This is the last letter. I promise. After this, I'll stop writing and start doing. I'm on my way to you now. Driving south. No plan. No backup. Just me and hope and the terrifying possibility that you might say no. And if you do, I'll understand. I'll walk away. I'll leave you alone. I'll let you build the life you deserve. But if you say yes, if you give me another chance, if you believe I can be better, then I'll spend the rest of my life proving you right. I'll find work that doesn't involve hurting people. I'll go to therapy. I'll learn how to love without violence. I'll be a partner, not a protector. I'll be the man you see when you look at me. Not the man I've been, but the man I could be. If you'll let me. I'm pulling into town now. It's late. You're probably asleep. But I'm going to sit outside the bed and breakfast. In my car. Waiting. And when the sun comes up, if you walk out that door, I'll know there's hope. If you don't, I'll know I lost the only thing that ever mattered. I love you. Always. Vincent. Claire looked at the clock. 2 in the morning. She walked to the window. Looked out at the parking lot. Vincent's car was there. Engine off. Him sitting in the driver's seat. Staring straight ahead. Waiting. She stood at the window for a long time. Watching him. Thinking about everything they'd been through. Everything they'd lost. Everything they could still have. Then she made her choice. Vincent didn't sleep. Just sat in his car, watching the sky slowly turn from black to gray to pink. He'd been sitting there for 6 hours. Waiting. Hoping. The bed and breakfast door opened at 7. Claire walked out. She wore jeans and a yellow sweater. Her hair was down. She looked tired. Beautiful. Alive. Vincent got out of the car. They stood 10 feet apart. Neither moving. You came back, Claire said. I came back. I read your letters. All of them. All 20. She stepped closer. You're really walking away from it? The business? The violence? All of it. I already did. Turned everything over to Tony. Gerald's in police custody. I'm done. And what will you do instead? Whatever you want. Construction. Security. Carpentry. I don't care. As long as I'm with you. What if I want to move to Alaska? Open a coffee shop? Then I'll learn to make lattes. What if I want to go back to school? Get my degree? Then I'll work 2 jobs to pay for it. What if I want to travel? See the world? Then I'll pack light and follow you wherever you go. Claire's eyes filled with tears. You'd really do all that? Give up everything? For me? I'd give up anything for you. Because you're not just someone I love. You're the reason I want to be better. The reason I believe I can be. She closed the distance between them. Stood right in front of him. Close enough to touch. I need you to promise me something, she said. Anything. Promise me you'll talk to me. When you're scared. When you're angry. When you want to solve problems the old way. Promise me you'll use words instead of violence. I promise. Promise me you'll go to therapy. Work through the trauma. Learn how to be a partner. I promise. Promise me that if I stay, you won't leave again. That you won't make decisions for me. That we'll figure this out together. I promise. And promise me that when things get hard, when your past comes looking for you, when the violence calls you back, you'll choose me. Choose us. Choose the future we're trying to build. Vincent took her face in his hands. Looked into her eyes. I promise. All of it. For the rest of my life. I choose you. Then I choose you too. She kissed him. And it felt like coming home. Like the end of a war. Like two broken people finally finding a way to be whole. When they broke apart, Vincent was crying. Not from grief. From relief. From the overwhelming weight of being forgiven. Being chosen. Being loved despite everything he'd done. Where do we go from here? He asked. Somewhere new. Somewhere nobody knows our names. Somewhere we can be whoever we want to be. And who do you want to be? Claire smiled. Happy. I just want to be happy. Me too. They got in the car together. Drove out of the small Georgia town. Headed west. Toward Texas. Toward New Mexico. Toward the vast open spaces where the past couldn't find them and the future was still unwritten. They stopped at a diner in Alabama for breakfast. Ate pancakes and drank terrible coffee and didn't talk about Boston or Dylan or Kyle. They just talked about the future. About the house they'd rent. About the jobs they'd find. About the normal, boring, beautiful life they'd build together. And for the first time in both their lives, that future didn't feel like a dream. It felt like a promise. Vincent chose love over violence. Claire chose hope over fear. But can they really leave the past behind? One more act to go where we see if broken people can build something whole. What do you think their future holds? 6 months later. The house sat on 3 acres outside Santa Fe, New Mexico. Small. Adobe style. Red clay roof, wooden beams, windows that faced the mountains. Vincent had found work at a construction company rebuilding old homes in the historic district. His hands, once used for violence, now built walls and fixed roofs and restored beautiful things. Claire enrolled at the University of New Mexico. Art history. She'd always loved paintings, museums, the way light moved across canvas. Now she got to study it. Learn about it. Become an expert in something that had nothing to do with surviving. They were happy. Not perfect. Not easy. But happy. Vincent woke at dawn like always. Old habits. But instead of preparing for meetings with dangerous men, he made coffee and watched the sunrise paint the desert gold. Claire emerged from the bedroom around 7, hair messy, still in pajamas. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. Morning, she murmured against his back. Morning. Sleep okay? Better than okay. I didn't have the dream. The dream. Dylan standing over her. Hitting her. Her unable to move or scream or run. She'd had it every night for months. But therapy was helping. The nightmares were coming less frequently now. That's good, Vincent said. Really good. They ate breakfast together on the back patio. Eggs and toast. Orange juice from the farmer's market in town. The air smelled like sage and juniper. I have a meeting with my advisor today, Claire said. She wants to talk about my thesis proposal. What are you thinking? Women artists in the American Southwest. Georgia O'Keeffe. Her time in New Mexico. How the landscape changed her work. Sounds perfect. What about you? Big project today. Restoring a house near the plaza. 1800s. Original Vegas. It's beautiful. Or it will be when we're done. They cleaned up together. Moved around the kitchen like dancers who'd learned each other's rhythms. He washed. She dried. Simple. Domestic. Normal. Everything they'd fought for. Vincent left for work first. Kissed her goodbye. I'll be home by 6. Want me to pick up groceries? Get ingredients for pasta. I'll make dinner. You sure? Last time you almost burned the kitchen down. She laughed. Swatted his arm. That was one time. And the smoke alarm was too sensitive. If you say so. He left smiling. Got in his truck, a used Ford, nothing fancy, and drove toward town. The mountains rose purple in the distance. The sky stretched endless and blue. He turned on the radio. Classic rock. Fleetwood Mac. He hummed along. His phone rang. Unknown number. His chest tightened. Old instincts. But he answered. Hello. Is this Vincent Romano? A woman's voice. Professional. Unfamiliar. Who's asking? My name is Dr. Patricia Owens. I'm a therapist. Your name was given to me by a colleague as someone who might benefit from my services. Vincent pulled over. I'm already seeing someone. I know. Dr. Hayes in Albuquerque. He's excellent. But I specialize in trauma related to violence. Childhood abuse. PTSD. I understand you've experienced significant trauma, and I wanted to reach out personally. How did you get my number? I can't disclose that. But I want you to know this is completely confidential. No judgment. Just help if you want it. Vincent was quiet. Part of him wanted to hang up. To say he was fine. That he didn't need more help. But the other part, the part Claire had coaxed into the light, knew better. What would therapy look like? He asked. Once a week. 90 minutes. We'd work through your past. Your relationship with your father. The violence you witnessed and participated in. The guilt you carry. And we develop tools to help you build the life you want. I'm already building that life. I know. And therapy would help make sure you can keep it. That the past doesn't pull you back. Vincent thought about the nightmares he still had. About the rage that sometimes bubbled up when he heard men yelling at women in public. About the fear that one day he'd slip. That he'd hurt Claire. That he'd become his father. Okay, he said. I'll try it. Wonderful. I have an opening next Tuesday at 4. Does that work? Yeah, that works. She gave him the address. He wrote it on a napkin from the glove compartment. When he hung up, he sat in his truck for a moment. Breathing. Processing. He was scared. But he was also hopeful. Maybe healing was possible. Maybe he could be more than his past. Maybe he could be the man Claire saw when she looked at him. He drove to work and told himself to believe it. Claire's meeting with her advisor went well. Dr. Martinez loved her thesis proposal. Encouraged her to apply for a research grant. Told her she had real potential. Claire walked out of the building floating. For years, she'd been told she was worthless. Stupid. Lucky anyone put up with her. Now someone saw her intelligence. Her passion. Her value. She drove to a coffee shop near campus. Ordered a latte. Sat outside in the sun and opened her laptop to start outlining her thesis. A woman sat at the next table. Mid-40s. Kind face. Reading a book about domestic violence. Claire noticed the title. Felt her chest tighten. The woman looked up. Saw Claire staring. Smiled. Sorry. Heavy reading for a coffee shop. No, Claire paused. It's important. I used to, she stopped. She'd never said it out loud to a stranger before. The woman's expression softened. You're a survivor. It wasn't a question. Claire nodded. 3 years. With my ex-boyfriend. She couldn't finish. You don't have to explain. I work at a women's shelter here in Santa Fe. I see stories like yours every day. Do they get better? The women. Some do. Some don't. But the ones who do have a few things in common. They ask for help. They believe they deserve better. And they find people who support them instead of tearing them down. Claire thought about Vincent. About how he'd killed for her. How he'd walked away from everything for her. How he was learning to love without violence. I found someone, Claire said. Someone who sees me. Who believes in me. Who's trying to be better. That's good. Hold on to that. And keep working on yourself. Because trauma doesn't disappear just because the abuser does. It lives in your body. Your mind. Your reactions. You have to actively heal it. I'm in therapy. That's a great start. Have you thought about group therapy? Sometimes talking to other survivors helps. Knowing you're not alone. Claire hadn't thought about it. But the idea resonated. Where would I find that? The woman pulled a card from her purse. This is the shelter. We run support groups twice a week. You don't have to be a resident to attend. Just show up. Tell them Dana sent you. Claire took the card. Thank you. You're welcome. And Claire. Yeah. Whatever you survived, whatever it took to get here, you did good. You're still standing. That's what matters. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Really. Dana squeezed her hand. Then went back to her book. Claire sat there for a long time, holding the card, thinking about going to a group. About sitting in a room with other women who'd survived what she had. About telling her story. Hearing theirs. It scared her. But it also felt right. She texted Vincent. I love you. See you tonight. His response came immediately. Love you too. More than you know. She smiled, closed her laptop, drove home to their little house in the desert and let herself feel proud. She'd survived. She was healing. She was building a future. That was enough. The call came on a Thursday evening. Vincent and Claire were making dinner together. He was chopping vegetables. She was boiling water for pasta. The radio played softly in the background. Vincent's phone rang. Tony's name on the screen. He hesitated. They'd agreed, no contact unless it was an emergency. He answered. Tony. Vin. Sorry to bother you. I know you're out. But I needed you to hear this from me. Vincent's stomach dropped. What happened? Gerald escaped during a prison transport. Shot 2 guards. He's in the wind. Claire stopped stirring the pasta. Turned to look at Vincent. When? Vincent asked. 3 days ago. FBI's looking for him. So are we. But Vin, he's been asking questions about you. About where you went. About Claire. Vincent's hand tightened on the phone. You think he's coming here? I don't know. But he's got nothing to lose. And he blames you for everything. For turning him in. For ruining his life. I wanted you to be prepared. Thanks for the warning. You need me to send guys? Protection? No. If Gerald shows up, I'll handle it. You sure? You said you were done with all that. I am. But I'm not letting anyone hurt Claire. That hasn't changed. He hung up. Looked at Claire. She was pale. Gerald escaped, he said. I heard. He might come here. What do we do? Vincent walked to her. Took her hands. First, we don't panic. Second, we prepare. I'll call the local police. File a report. Get them aware of the situation. Third, we install better locks. Maybe a security system. And fourth, we trust that we're strong enough to handle whatever comes. Together. Claire nodded. But he could see the fear in her eyes. The old fear. The one that said safety was an illusion and violence always found you. Hey. He lifted her chin. Look at me. I'm not going to let him hurt you. But I'm also not going back to who I was. I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to do this the right way. Legal. Clean. No more blood on my hands. What if the right way doesn't work? Then we figure out plan B. But I have to try. For you. For us. For the future we're building. She kissed him. Okay. We try it your way. They finished making dinner. Ate quietly. Cleaned up. Then Vincent spent an hour on the phone with the local sheriff's department, explaining the situation. They promised extra patrols. Told him to call immediately if Gerald showed up. That night, Vincent barely slept. Every sound made him alert. Every car passing made him check the window. Claire slept fitfully beside him. Dreaming. Probably Dylan. Probably Gerald. Probably all the men who'd hurt her or tried to. Around 3 in the morning, he heard something outside. A car door. Footsteps. He got up quietly. Grabbed the baseball bat he'd started keeping by the bed. Walked to the window. A figure stood in the driveway. Tall. Thin. Familiar. Gerald. Vincent's blood went cold. He pulled out his phone. Dialed 911. Whispered the address. Told them there was an intruder. Armed and dangerous. Then he walked to the front door. Bat in hand. Heart hammering. Gerald knocked. 3 times. Polite. Almost friendly. I know you're in there, Vincent, Gerald called. I just want to talk. Vincent opened the door. Kept the bat ready. How did you find me? I'm good with money. And money leaves trails. Rental agreements. Utility bills. You can't disappear completely. Not in the digital age. What do you want? Justice. You destroyed my life. Turned me in. Made me a rat. I lost everything because of you. You killed an innocent man. You earned what you got. Kyle wasn't innocent. He was going to destroy the family. I was protecting us. By murdering someone who just wanted answers about his brother? That's not protection. That's paranoia. Gerald's face twisted. You don't get to lecture me. You, who walked away. Who abandoned everything your family built. Who chose some woman over loyalty. I chose love over violence. That's not abandonment. That's evolution. It's weakness. Behind Vincent, Claire appeared. She held her phone up. Recording. The police are on their way, she said. Voice steady despite the fear. And I'm recording this. Everything you say. Everything you do. It's evidence. Gerald's eyes narrowed. Smart. But it doesn't matter. I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I came here to make you understand what you took from me. I understand, Vincent said. And I'm sorry. Sorry you felt like killing was the only option. Sorry the life destroyed you the way it destroyed me. But I'm not going back. And you can't make me. I don't want you to come back. I want you to suffer the way I'm suffering. Alone. Hunted. Afraid. Then you failed. Because I'm not alone. I'm not hunted. And I'm not afraid anymore. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Gerald looked toward the sound. Then back at Vincent. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Walk away now, turn yourself in, and maybe you get out in 20 years. Or run, and spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. Your choice. Gerald stared at him for a long moment. Then he turned and walked toward his car. Vincent almost let him go. Almost. But then he remembered Kyle. Remembered the way Gerald had manipulated him. Tried to force him back into violence. Gerald. Gerald stopped. I forgive you, Vincent said. For what you did. For what you tried to do. I forgive you. And I hope one day you forgive yourself. Gerald's shoulders shook. Just once. Then he got in his car and drove away. The police arrived 3 minutes later. Vincent gave them Gerald's description. His license plate. The direction he'd gone. They caught him 2 hours later on Highway 25 heading toward Colorado. Spring came to New Mexico in a riot of color. Wildflowers blooming. Trees budding. The desert coming alive. Vincent and Claire stood in the backyard of their house, looking at the garden they'd planted. Tomatoes. Peppers. Herbs. A small lemon tree. It's growing, Claire said, marveling at the tiny green tomatoes. You doubted me? I doubted both of us. Neither of us knows anything about gardening. We're learning. That's what matters. Claire leaned against him. I got my thesis proposal approved. Officially. Dr. Martinez wants me to present it at a conference in Tucson next month. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. And guess what else? What? The women's shelter offered me a volunteer position. Teaching art therapy to residents. It's just 1 day a week, but, her voice caught. I get to help people like me. People who survived. Vincent pulled her close. Kissed the top of her head. You're incredible. You know that. I'm trying to be. What about you? How's therapy going? Hard. Dr. Owens doesn't let me hide. She pushes. Makes me talk about my father. About the violence. About the guilt. But it's helping. I don't have the nightmares as much anymore. I noticed. You've been sleeping better. So have you. They stood in silence, watching the sun set behind the mountains. The sky turned pink and orange and purple. Do you ever miss it? Claire asked. Boston? The power? The control? Sometimes. When I'm tired or stressed or feeling useless. But then I come home to you. To this house. To this life. And I remember what I was missing before. Which was? Peace. Joy. Purpose that doesn't involve hurting people. A reason to wake up that's about building instead of destroying. Claire turned to face him. Do you think we made it? Do you think we actually got our happy ending? I don't think endings exist. Just new beginnings. Better chapters. And yeah, I think we made it to a better chapter. Even with Gerald out there. Gerald was in prison now. Maximum security. 30 years minimum. He'd sent Vincent a letter last month. It said, I was wrong. About everything. I hope you find what I never could. Peace. Vincent had cried reading it. Then he'd burned it. Let it go. Even with Gerald, Vincent said. Even with our pasts. Even with the scars we'll always carry. We made it. I love you, Claire said. I love you too. Always. They kissed as the sun disappeared and stars began appearing. The desert went quiet. The world felt vast and full of possibility. Later, they went inside. Made dinner. Ate on the couch while watching a movie neither of them paid attention to because they were too busy talking. About Claire's thesis. About Vincent's project, restoring a church. About the trip they were planning to California. About maybe getting a dog. About the future they were building one day at a time. Around midnight, they went to bed. Held each other in the dark. Thank you, Claire whispered. For what? For seeing me. For saving me. For letting me save you back. Thank you for giving me a reason to be better. For believing I could be. For choosing me even when I gave you every reason not to. I'd choose you again. Every time. Me too. They fell asleep tangled together. Two broken people who'd found a way to be whole. Two survivors who'd built something beautiful from the wreckage of their pasts. Outside, the desert stretched endless under starlight. Inside, their small house glowed warm and safe. They'd fought their way here. Through violence and grief and fear and love. They'd lost people. Lost themselves. Found each other. And they'd made it. Not perfect. Not healed completely. Not without scars. But happy. Free. Together. And that was everything they'd ever wanted. 1 year later. Claire defended her thesis on a bright May morning. Vincent sat in the front row, wearing a suit he'd bought for the occasion. Nervous and proud and amazed. She spoke for an hour about Georgia O'Keeffe. About how the landscape had transformed her art. About finding beauty in harsh places. About survival and reinvention. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. She'd passed. She'd done it. Vincent stood. Cheered louder than anyone. Afterward, they celebrated at their favorite restaurant. Tony flew in from Boston with a gift, an original sketch by a local artist. For your new life, he said. Luca came too. Brought his new girlfriend. Everyone laughed. Told stories. Drank too much wine. It was perfect. That night, Vincent and Claire drove home under a full moon. The desert glowed silver. I have something for you, Vincent said when they pulled into the driveway. What? He pulled a small box from his pocket. Opened it. Inside sat a simple gold ring. I know we said we'd take things slow. No rush. No pressure. But Claire, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to build a family with you. I want to grow old with you. Will you marry me? Claire was crying. Smiling. Nodding. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring on her finger. Kissed her. Held her. They went inside. Made love. Fell asleep wrapped around each other. And when morning came, the sun rose over the mountains like a promise. Like the beginning of forever. They made it. Vincent and Claire found their happy ending, not perfect but real. Love won. Healing happened. 2 broken souls built something beautiful. What did you think of their journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more emotional storytelling that reminds us all that redemption is possible.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as interesting and even more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.